Nelson here. This is 372 pages we'll never get back. I am here with, of course, Connor Listoka. How are you, Connor?
Good, Mike. It's a brisk day here in Christmas Leesburg. We change the name every December.
Yeah, so there, because you are a temperate clime, do you have to have the effects people come in and spray that polystyrene snow around?
Yeah.
Or whatever?
It's worth it. It's worth it for the coziness.
I remember when I was in the theater a lot, they used to use what they call charmingly cracked oil. That's the smoke that you put around and makes the lights show up better. So I'd spend weeks breathing in cracked oil. Sound like Norm Macdonald there.
Yeah, that's right.
But one time I was like to the effects guy, what is this stuff and how's it affecting me? And he basically shrugged. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. I'll just keep breathing it in then.
Yeah.
You don't care, I don't.
They won't tell us where they get it from, but I suspect that it's a country that no longer exists that got it. So once we run out of this supply. Cracked oil sounds like when they make try to make a menu item sound, they try to sell a little sizzle or something, like cracked black pepper type of thing. Like,
yeah, I make eggs for my beloved wife most days, and I use a carbon steel pan. And I said once, your steel pan eggs are ready.
Oh my God.
And she's like, you got to put that on a menu somewhere. Steel pan eggs.
Yes. Oh.
Perfect. Anyway, this is the podcast where we go through bad books, and we are in the middle of one of our favorites, I think.
Yeah, it's got a lot of the aspects we like. We've got incredibly out of whack priorities. We've got jealous characters. We've got pro bono podiatrists. I mean, that's my 3 boxes I'm looking for in every book we do.
Yeah, a podiatrist who eats pie but doesn't like it is one of my favorite aspects of him.
But yes, and the book is Murder in Christmas River by Meg Muldoon, the first book in the, I think, dozen book Christmas River cozy mystery series.
Dozens, just so many. And I'm sure she has 5 other series that we haven't even explored.
Right. I think a lot of people do these under a pen name. We covered one as a bonus one last week that was written by someone whose name sounded normal, right? Her name was Riley Blake, but it turned out that was a pen name. So Meg Muldoon probably is just, banking in. She's probably got some like erotica series, Werewolves in Christmas River. I guess that would tip her hand pretty quickly if all her books were set in Christmas River, but you know what I mean.
Right. Yeah. I wonder when you're becoming an author, and let's say you have a friend whose name is like Pearl Crackleberry or something, and she's not writing cozy mysteries, you must just be like, come on, get your crap together and start writing, or I'm going to take your damn name.
Well, there you go. Cozy mystery. You murder Pearl Crackleberry to take her name so you could write cozy mysteries.
Yeah. We still have to write that. Murder at the Cozy Mystery Convention.
But the mystery, as we noted in the last episode of this one, was somewhat lacking because there was a dead body that was indisputable. It was in the prologue. However, the book made it through a third of the book, 13 chapters, I believe 16,000 words, without that body being discovered by anyone in town.
Yes.
So we were left to wonder whether that was going to happen in this series, in this segment. And it does, of course. It sets some action into play. But before we get to all that, a listener sent in a challenge, I guess, for you, since I read the email. But
okay,
this was from Scott. He says that his wife and him have been on an insane Christmas movie marathon for the past 2 weeks. So he started well before Thanksgiving. He says, it seems every day we randomly stumble into a new title. We shout at the other in disbelief that it exists. And this seemed to fit the theme for the current episodes and your previous quizzes about Hallmark. He says, if nothing else, I want to share some of the weird garbage we've watched. So he essentially says, like, let Mike guess these, whether these are real or something fake. I guess he made them.
All right.
Okay. Let's here we go. The Night Before Christmas, Knight.
He made it up.
Okay. Rad Santa.
Rad Santa?
Like bad Santa, but he skateboards.
Oh, please say he made that up.
Baby, It's Cold Inside.
Yeah, Candace Cameron Bure, sure.
Kris Kringle, License to Mingle.
Sure. What is her name? Julia Gomez or whatever?
Selena Gomez?
No. She's a Hallmark actress. She was in Dodgeball years ago, but she's now
nice.
moved over to the Hallmark.
Staple,
now.
Yeah. A Christmas Karen.
Ooh. Are they already putting that in titles?
That would be they'd be leaping into action quickly. I mean, that's only 3 years old, I feel like.
I'll give it to Hallmark on that one.
Okay. Vanilla Ice and the Christmas Heist.
No.
A Shoe Addict's Christmas.
Oh, of course. I'm sure there's an entire series.
Yeah, that sounds like a shoe addict's Thanksgiving, etc.
Yeah.
Rudolph's Kisses.
I don't. No, I don't think so.
I'm not really even keeping track of this. This is tricky. But A Very Corgi Christmas.
Oh yes, 100%.
A Meowie Christmas.
Ooh, what, like with cats on the island of Hawaii or something?
Oh wow, that'd be nice.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past him. I'll say yes on that one.
Okay. 12 Dates of Christmas.
Yes, 100%.
Born on Christmas.
Born on Christmas. Sure. I'll bite on that one.
Baking All the Way.
Yes.
Once Upon a Snowstorm.
Sure.
Sit, Stay, Love.
I'm going to say he made it up, but he should certainly at least send him an email and let him have that one.
Yes. Christmas Whispers.
Like Careless Whispers?
I think so. I guess so.
Sure.
Okay. Santa with Muscles.
Yes. Yeah. That's, I think that I know that one. Isn't that, the Hulk?
It is a Hulk Hogan, yes.
Yeah.
6 Cats a Slayin'.
6 Cats a Slay? I don't think so.
Okay. Cloudy with a Chance of Christmas.
Of course.
And the last one is Love Lights Hanukkah.
Yes. Yeah.
And all right, so those are essentially alternated between real and fake. I think you did. You think you got more correct than wrong, but
okay.
The fake ones were Rad Santa, Kris Kringle, License to Mingle, Vanilla Ice and the Christmas Heist, Rudolph's Kisses, Meowie Christmas, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Corgi, Born on Christmas, Once Upon a Snowstorm, Christmas Whispers, and 6 Cats a Slayin', which he said is an actual cozy mystery, but it's not a movie yet.
Right.
But yeah, Night Before Christmas, Baby, It's Cold Inside, Christmas Karen. She's an entitled middle-aged woman whose demanding nature has alienated her neighbors and family. After a series of instances displaying her privilege and prejudice, she receives an intervention by some unconventional spirits.
Wow.
Very Corgi Christmas is real.
Sure.
Baking All the Way. That has a Colin Mockery in it. And Sit, Stay, Love is after finishing a mission, worker Annie Blake goes home to Vermont, you guessed it, to spend the holidays with her family. When the local animal shelter closes, Annie steps in to save it with the help of the local vet and old school nemesis Dylan.
Wow. The one of those reminded me of, I don't know if I should be saying this, maybe he someday wants to write this for real. My son was one day just vamping on making up a Christmas song, and he was making up lyrics to a song he called Santa's Tender Kisses.
Was
his
he
wife
10
was going,
now? His wife. Okay, so
his wife was going, stop it. Like, what? That could be a song.
Right. I mean, there's only one song about kissing Santa. You figure you've got to at least be the second one.
Yes.
It is off-putting.
It's disturbing, yes.
All right. Well done.
Point.
And thank you to Scott. I hope the final 3 weeks of the Christmas season have just as many movies that you discover.
Well, I think the Christmas season ends, and then I think they switch channels and they go back to Hallmark movies. But I believe if you have the right package, you can just get the Christmas movies all year long. So you don't have to stop. You could keep it going.
I mean, I'm looking at a thing right now. It looks like the most recent debut was A Christmas Cookie Catastrophe. So,
starring Cinnamon, whatever.
Yes. All right. Well, we should get into Cinnamon. I think that to recap, she has had an old flame return home. An old flame meaning a guy that she kissed once 17 years ago. That's Daniel. He's a handsome man who, it's revealed in this section, always smells like cedar.
Yes. That was a trait I gave people in my novel. They were they were like a Norwegian mob.
Wow.
And all of them smelled like freshly sanded cedar.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
Wow. So cast the first stone. And the rival for her affections is Dr. John, who comes into her pie shop, eats strawberry rhubarb pie, or just sort of pushes it around his plate. And he is upset that she has decided that this new handsome guy is the one she's after, even though Dr. John is established as being quite handsome himself.
Yes, and quite well-to-do, obviously, because he's a pro bono podiatrist, so he's got shishing. Now, it should be stated the reason that Daniel, the handsome man from her past, from her far distant past, I mean, there's a marriage in between that kiss.
Yes, true.
From marriage to Evan. But he returns out of he sits in the corner like Aragorn at the bar and, lights a match, and she sees his eyes and like, who is that guy? And then he appears out of the night chasing a dog.
Stray
drunk
dog.
Drunk as a pig. But the reason he didn't call her was his brother was slain the next day. Isn't that correct?
Correct. He was killed in a convenience store robbery, which I assume was he was buying a bottle of, drugstore gin at 3 p.m. or something.
Yeah. Or maybe he was so far gone that he was buying the rubbing alcohol and hoping for the best. We don't know. We don't care to speculate.
So, yeah, he had to leave town to go to that. And I believe he's back in town this time because his father died, or maybe that's just that has happened recently, too. But Daniel has suffered great familial losses in his since he left town, as has Cinnamon Peters, our hero, who her mother died. And we get to how that happened in this time. But it's quite exciting as well.
It is.
She lives with her drunken grandfather, Warren. And has the other drama in her life is that her former bakery assistant, because she seems to be managing her pie shop just fine with one person. I guess she doesn't. She burns pies and has all sorts of drama. She used to have an assistant named Bailey who betrayed her, ran off with her husband, and has reappeared in her life dramatically to enter the big Gingerbread House bake-off that is the defining event of the Christmas season here in Christmas River. You get a 4-day trip to Maui out of the whole thing. You'd think they could have sprung for a week if they're just, if it's a big enough event that they're able to do that, give them the extra 3 days.
Yeah, we're flying. It's a big hassle.
Hawaii is a big, exactly.
Big deal. Yeah. So that's where we are. There. Oh, she's feeding a dog, a stray dog, the dog who witnessed the murder. Mm-hmm. By the way. No spoilers there. That happens in the prologue. She feeds him her burnt pies.
Yes.
And then he gets skinnier and skinnier, probably from vomiting and diarrheaing up the pies. and getting whatever, sort of the feeding the worms that he has instead of his body. So, yeah, she does not consult a vet. She just feeds him pies. Yeah. And so that's where we are. And and Daniel, we're just at the point where John has gotten up, the handsome doctor, podiatrist, has gotten up the nerve to ask her out.
Yes, and that was
right at that moment. Daniel walks in.
Daniel bursts in the door, like shirt half unbuttoned, like he's sort of pointing while flexing to being like, "Could I have a piece of that pie?" And so Dr. John, who's attended medical school and had just been working up, she says, spent a year building up his courage. Immediately launches into the 13-year-old gamer rage as just from having another man come along and destroy the prize that he had spent a year earning, which is essentially a date with this woman. So I think he's going to do the thing where he's going to send her the bill for all the pie he's been eating.
Yes. Just as petty as hell.
She says he's been a regular customer coming into my shop for a year now, but that didn't mean he owned me. I wasn't his property, which is the sense I got in his tone when he stomped out of there.
Someone figure out what's the bill for a year's worth of one piece of pie. And I'm going to assume a coffee.
Yeah, I mean, that's, what's at least 5 times 365. That's no small change. That's like $1,700.
Yeah. But now she's made it clear. This is the first line of, I'm just going to go back to the first line of chapter 14. John had left the majority of his strawberry rhubarb pie on the plate. Okay. What happened to the minority of the pie? John hates pie.
Yes.
She bakes him these strawberry rhubarb pies. No one else eats them, and neither does he. So it's a weird circle of, it's a Potemkin village of pies. Uh-huh. But what did he do? Does he surreptitiously put it in his pockets?
Yeah, he might.
Or does he choke it down like, all right, just so that she doesn't think I come in here only to stare at her and ogle her and ask her out? I'm going to choke this down.
I think John goes into the bathroom of his podiatrist office and just like plunges his hand into his pocket of strawberry rhubarb pie, and he's like, oh yeah.
Oh dear.
That's what happens. But yeah, she specifically said he doesn't eat it. He sort of pushes it around. So I guess the I don't know, the majority of it.
Yeah, he took some with this time. That's all I'm saying. So somewhere there's some missing pie. But she does call him petty. She doesn't like the way he got petty with her. And just an oddity, she uses the French spelling of petty there. I wondered why.
It bothered me as well.
Okay. So I'm being petty, but I mean that's either legal or it's French. I don't know what she's doing there.
Petite, right? I mean, in a
petty.
Yeah. Okay. Very, very annoying because we use that in English a lot to mean tiny.
Yes, but it's also, I mean, it means just little in French, small. So petty tone. I don't know why we have a word. It's petty.
Maybe Dr. John
petty tone.
Maybe he doesn't talk like Dr. John. Maybe he has a distressingly high voice for a handsome man, and that's been the main deal breaker for her all these years.
Fine. Go ahead and have your little affair with Daniel. I'm taking a portion of my pie and I'm leaving.
Ain't gonna win no dares with that voice, Dr. John.
I'll see you down the road, Captain. 2 snaps and finger guns.
Right.
Sawyer from Lost is what we're going with for this
Very
guy.
Nice,
I think,
yes.
right?
Yeah. Oh, for Daniel, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she says that the shop is mostly empty. All the long line of customers had all been helped, so I wasn't sure if that meant that it was actually empty or mostly empty. It turns out that it is empty, is what she meant.
Sure.
But I think she hears the dog back there.
Yes.
Yeah, so she heard a noise below the window. I looked down and saw Huckleberry there eating away at the tin pans of burnt pie. He was looking older and more haggard.
Yes.
So I think it's very funny that she's very endeared to this dog. She gets distressed when he doesn't show up. She's noticed that he looks terrible, but she hasn't even sprung for a bag of kibble at this point in time. She's just like, well, clearly the pies are working. He keeps coming back for more.
She sees his ribs and is like, well, the definition of insanity. I'm going to keep feeding him burnt pies. Seems to be making him more haggard.
Yeah. And she tries to get him to come inside and warm up, but wind blows through and slams the doors shut, and she says she sees fear flash across his eyes, which I assume was just him realizing that the onset of the pie squirts are coming on. He's feeling,
dear.
He's spent a week fearing it's just awful, organs are coming out by this point in time.
He's running to the woods going, stay together, cheeks, stay together, cheeks.
But she decides, I think, that she is going to follow him. And she's able to do that because when she looks and sees that there are no other customers, there are not. So when she says it was mostly empty, she did in fact mean empty.
Yes. She turns the sign around and heads out into the snow with the emaciated dog.
Yes. That's where we transition to chapter 15. It says, the deeper I walked into the woods, the more I felt like Huckleberry had a purpose, a reason for doing this. He wasn't just a starved stray looking for a meal. There was more to it. And it is, in fact, what he's doing. He, I forget how he says that he's leading her to something, but he paces around, something I couldn't make out, something covered by a layer of snow. Then my eyes fell on something that looked like a log sticking up out of the snow. So Huckleberry's, he's had at least one solid come out. That's good. That speaks well for his digestive health.
Oh, dear.
And but she finally understands what she's looking at and just gets some of the dramatic hard-boiled cinnamon dialogue. It says, "Then I understood. I put my hand over my mouth and stifled the scream that traveled up my throat, looking for a way out. The form in the snow, the outline, the pale purple color of it. In the dying red light, I finally understood what it was. A hand sticking up from the blanket of rosy snow. A frozen hand."
Nice.
Yeah.
Chapter end.
Whoever passed away here sort of gave the dramatic death pose here. Reaching up, towards this. I don't know who's famously done that, but it's it's very nice.
Right at the point that they froze, too, though. So very good timing. Cause
True, yes.
I mean, obviously, I would have preferred a middle finger, but
yes.
I'll take what we can get here. And so put a pin in this this chapter of deeper I walked into the woods is a thing.
Okay.
And then we'll come back to that later because the distance is said explicitly later on.
Oh, okay, great.
And it's quite shocking. So.
All right, yeah. So she said, "The deeper I walked into the woods, the more I felt like I had a purpose."
Yes. Okay.
Great.
Put a pin in that.
Right. So yeah, she's passing, Baba Yaga's hut and the witch's, gingerbread house. She, you can see the eyes of just wolves that are illuminated. You only see their yellow eyes.
She passes like 6 cabins of guys who used to be in the military who are chopping wood and ready to do one more job.
Bake one more gingerbread house.
Yes.
But so that chapter ends, and then we get, so far, what is the shortest chapter in the book. But we get some really nice, almost Kleinian text here.
Exactly, Kleinian text.
Do you ever let us, please read us for us.
A feeling of absolute horror circulated through my body. I ran, falling into the brutally cold snow and getting up again, and falling again and repeating the whole process, like I was running from Jack Torrance in The Shining.
Very nice.
Didn't the Ready Player One movie had like a 17-minute Shining thing?
Yeah,
right?
it was the most widely praised part of the movie, I feel like.
Yeah.
Was just showing a scene from The Shining. So that's, not a comparison I was expecting.
Did not expect the Cozy verse to go Ready Player One. Lots of other books do, but did not expect this.
It gives me an idea. Like I think you could easily write a clickbait article that would enrage people and dominate the internet for a day if you did like, The Shining is technically a cozy mystery. You've got snow. You've got a writer. You have to think of a punnier name like I don't know, all work and no play. You're on the verge there, but
yeah, there's
all work and no pie. I guess that could work.
Yeah, I mean, there's good meals. There's snow machines.
Yeah,
there's a maze. Yeah. So getting back to this, so she runs back to her phone and she calls 911, and this is a very curious thing.
Okay.
"Is he alive?" 911 asks. "I don't know," I said, "but I was lying." What? Why? What? I don't understand this. Yeah. Is he alive? No. He's covered in snow.
Right, yeah, it was purple.
Absolutely not. I just don't know why. Because it doesn't come up again. It's just sort of I don't think anyone says, like, "Why did you lie to 911?"
Yeah, that would be nice.
Later.
Yeah, because her motives do get called into question by law enforcement. So, I sort of skipped over that, but that's odd. I guess it's just denial. She doesn't want to deny that something could happen this deep in the woods behind her pie shop.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the chapter. It says,
yes.
"I did know there was no other possibility. Whoever that hand belonged out to in the woods behind the pie shop was dead and had been for a while."
Yep. So we got our murder.
Finally.
Yes. But let's keep the cozy stuff coming, though. So the cops are there. There's, all sorts of... Sheriff Trumbo is there.
It's a good sheriff name.
But let's keep the cozy coming. She's shivering. Daniel had put his coat around me and poured me a shot of the bourbon I kept in the cupboard for the bourbon chess pie I made in the summertime. The dead guy's widow is weeping somewhere.
Yeah, it begins sort of a very much there's a dead body. Nobody's happy about that, but it's also like we're not going to let it, dominate our mood, essentially, is the vibe that everyone sort of gets. Any sort of petty grievance is still elevated. It's like as if I was sort of had to do some shopping. If I had to get my green beans for my Thanksgiving green bean casserole, I found a dead body in my backyard. I was still going to be like, but what if the store is out of green beans? That was going to be a concern that I had, and I wasn't going to let the dead body detract me from that.
Right. Well, speaking of reversals with The Shining, this could be a reversal of the Christmas village that refuses to acknowledge any darkness in it and continues to be Christmassy.
Yeah.
Look, we got a dead body out there. You plaster that smile on your face and you sell tinsel, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, the mayor from Jaws is walking around here in a Santa hat. I like that.
We have to close the pie shops.
The widow of the person,
Oh, yeah.
walks up in her sexy Mrs. Claus outfit and slaps Sheriff Brody. But so along with that, the Christmas town has the I don't even think it's a dark secret. It's in the open where everyone's just boozing all the time, which I'm not gonna disparage. I mean, I've had 3 shots of bourbon already as we record this.
Sure.
So Daniel's just pouring her booze. She slugs it down. He pours her another one immediately and says, it's going to be okay, Cinnamon, Daniel said, placing the glass of bourbon in front of me. Drink this. And then, pours her another one. She doesn't touch, she says, but we'll get more to that later. But as they're sitting here in his coat, Dr. John notices the police lights outside because she was supposed to go meet him, I think, for dinner, I think.
Right.
Or he had told her, like, you come to my house at 5. Like, I bought enough pie, you owe me.
Right. So he takes the foot that's in his hands, he's smearing some sort of poisonous cream on some yellow toenails.
God.
He drops the foot and snaps those gloves off and runs out the door, and goes over to her.
Yeah.
And,
the webcam I have mounted to your mailbox. I mean, I saw I heard there was some sirens outside here.
And then, yes, junior high stuff. Who the hell are you? John said to Daniel. Yeah. Clearly, I haven't been made privy to that information yet.
Yes.
Which is I'm sure Daniel just goes, what?
She
what the hell are you talking
She
about?
just told you there was a dead body back there. Like that. You're asking who I am?
So John takes her home. Daniel wants to. They have a little tiff, a little standoff, a little contretemps around that. But then John does take her home, but she says, I can't leave. I told Warren I'd pick him up from the tavern in a little while. So that immediately made me think, what state is Warren in currently, like right now?
Yeah.
Is a little while like an hour? Like, is he 7 beers in right now? Where's Warren at?
Right. Yeah.
We know what the end is. He can't drive himself home every night.
He passes out in front of the TV showing old movies.
Yeah. So right now, I just wonder, what if you just stopped and picked him up now?
Oh.
He'd be like, come on, man, I barely buzzed.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe he's leading sort of like a discussion on a classic book of literature, and then once that wraps up at the tavern, he's like, all right, let's get busy. Like, but
we have to do something to justify our drinking here.
But yeah, John is issued what is to him like the what it's all been building up to. He gets to take her home, and he says he didn't say anything. He just put his arms around my shoulders in an awkward and uncomfortable way, led me out through the dining room and through the front door. At any other time, I might have protested more. So he's just doing this is his big moment. He's finally touching, or maybe he's doing like the weird hover arm, that the uncomfortable guys do in their prom photos, where you're not really sure if you're supposed to, touch someone. So it just
your arm becomes just like it's not a part of your body anymore. It's like how an arm can look awkward. It's just
But so she was wearing Daniel's jacket, so maybe he gives her his jacket, and that's when she puts her hands in and discovers that the pie's in the pocket. That could be something that happens now. But and also, he's a doctor. Like, the word gets out about, no one's going to want to go there and have him, massage their feet if you're getting out that he's this weird, creepy 13-year-old kind of guy.
Tell Mrs. Johnson I have to cancel her appointment. I am going to stand outside the pie shop with binoculars for a while. Yes, doctor, I'll do it right away.
So he gets in her car, and she gets in nearly falling asleep, just because of all the stress, I guess. And then it cuts to the next chapter, where she's talking about the pie contest she saw when she was a kid. She's already home. We leave over probably the best and most awkward part of the book so far.
Yeah, the brushing off of John. Why is that not a chapter?
Yeah, his heavy breathing as he's driving her home in silence. Like,
he can't get the defrost to get enough of his hot breath off the window.
Right.
I don't know what's going on here.
Baby, it's cold inside, comes in on the radio, and he's like, well, that would be awkward if you were, with someone in their house and she asked what's in that drink. Is
Warren home? No, he's not home. All right. But she dips into the Stand By Me reference again, which is weird.
Yeah, so we covered that in Real or Fanfic, but to reiterate, she says, when I was a teenager, I saw a pie eating contest at the Poley County Fair where one of the participants ate too much pie and threw up all over the place before being rushed to the hospital. So sort of Kleinian again.
Very, very odd, yeah.
And then to not get too Kleinian, because this is well past his classic 80s wheelhouse, she says she goes home and dozes off watching a rerun of The Big Valley.
Yes.
Watching Victoria Barkley descend the stairs in an outrageous purple dress. But we get the most cozy thing so far. She was lying in her room, wrapped in a pile of comforters and flannel sheets to get the cold out, but so far it wasn't working.
Wow, with a pile of them.
Yeah.
Warren needs to fix the furnace in that place.
But yeah, that's some cozy imagery.
Yes, and it's even cozy that she smiles when she thinks about Warren just giving it to Daniel in the car on the way home. Like, you treat my granddaughter like that, you son of a bitch.
But they get home and it says, Warren is a flashback to, I guess, 2 weeks after Daniel left to attend his brother's funeral. So they'd smooched once. Warren says, he told me that, of course, Daniel was probably going through a rough time, but that he should have returned my calls at least. Warren got pretty angry and threatened to go to California and find both Daniel and his father and have a real talking to them. Nobody treats my granddaughter like that, I remember him saying. So he was going to go to the funeral and beat him up.
Well, he probably did not remember saying that.
True. Yes.
So, cut to the future. This was one I just want to recreate it. Do you have the chapter there?
Yes.
Chapter 18. Warren gets dropped off by Daniel. She hears their voices down there. She doesn't hear what they're saying. But he ascends the stairs and she's outside of her door. And I just want to recreate this dialogue.
Okay.
So you be Cinnamon and I'll be Warren.
Okay.
This is the actual dialogue.
I just keep wondering who he was and how he ended up buried under the snow like that. It's a lonely way to go.
Well, every way is a lonely way to go. In the end, oh crap, shit, I lost my balance. I almost fell over the railing. Hang on.
Warren.
We all come in this world alone and we leave it alone.
Well, yeah, but there's a difference between dying in your bed at home and being found in a snowdrift.
His time was just up. I mean, one way or another. What the hell is this in my pocket? It's all wet and greasy. Damn it, Larry put a stuffed jalapeno in my pocket again. Anyway, there's nothing you could have done about that. Hell, There's nothing anybody could have done about it. He's just lucky you came along. A minute ago, I really should have had that third bowl of chili. Death is natural, city. Sack up.
Oh, Grandpa.
Anyway, I might have added a few words there, but that's
sure. I think the subtext was clear. A lot of food in pockets suddenly is coming up. That's in
this cozy thing.
Must be an Oregon thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's just a drunken nihilist. We all got to go sometime.
Everybody dies. What do you want me to do about it?
And he says sometime life throws us a curveball like that. Like it's like a curveball is,
you lose your job and you didn't expect it or something.
Sure, or like a relative leaves you some money or something. Not dying face down in a snowbank, stabbed to death. Like,
what a curveball!
Yeah, I got rear-ended on the way to work. Maybe that was some of that. But and then so after all that, he's been driven home by her ex-fling. He's given him a piece of his mind on the way home. I think he also said, but he says. You need anything? Something to drink, maybe? Some whiskey? And she turns him down, but obviously he's going, well, I'll pour two just in case.
Yeah, more whiskey.
And so then he says he's got a lot of nerve showing his face around here again after leaving the way he did. I let him know it too.
I bet that went well. So Daniel presumably was sober at this point.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's always nice when you're in the car,
doing someone a favor.
Yeah, like he had to do the cop thing of like pushing his head down so he wouldn't slam his own head against the side of the car. That's right, Warren. There you go. You're in there.
Oh,
Don't you patronize me. You're the son of left my granddaughter. Yeah, it was a long time. She got married to Evan. Remember, Warren?
Yeah, right. Yeah. You wet yourself at the funeral at the wedding. It was quite and you're doing it again in my driver's seat. Okay.
Oh my God, I have cloth seats. All right. Well.
Well, the dog was going to do that anyway when I adopted. So chapter 19, she reveals that it wasn't the first dead body she'd ever seen. Which
another Stand By Me reference.
Oh wow, yeah, definitely.
I assume.
Yeah. Where did that take place? Was that the Pacific Northwest? No, that was Maine, obviously. Duh.
Maine. Yeah. Right.
But she reveals. I mean, she's been talking about her mom, I think, and reveals how her mom departed this world. It says, because she's having a dream, I guess.
She's having a dream about her mom, yes, who has the same flat nose as her.
Sure.
So, I mean, she's cute as a button, right? But she has a slightly flat nose. I just want someone to, if anyone has a talent for art, could you draw Cinnamon with her slightly flat nose?
Right, but she's also like looking her age, I think she said, at the haggard, past her prime age of 33, but yeah, I guess the slightly flat nose is starting to show its years.
Yeah.
But she says her mom is standing there waiting for me, dressed in the same outfit she had been when she went skiing that fateful morning all those years ago. So yeah, mom Sonny Bono'd it as her. That's how she left this world.
Do you think they found her just like one of those, witches on Halloween? Those little things where they stick the witch to the tree, the broomstick,
yeah,
the arms straight out.
Right. A Far Side cartoon, the legs on either side of it.
Mom, why did your death have to be so comical?
I assume, if her mom's a seasoned skier, she was probably just hammered as she went down, like doing the last, they shut the lift down, like it's too dark to see, but we got one more ride left in us.
No, Mom, please.
And she says in the dream, she follows her gazes and gasps. Blood was gushing from my chest, running down the side of my fleece jacket, staining my jeans black, dripping down onto the bright white snow. The blood was spilling from a giant gash across my heart. A long, straight wound. Which, this is how she's made poor Dr. John feel. I think he's probably having the same dream, sweating at night, clasping his hands, waking up, Cinnamon.
She did have to wake up and go, though, come on, Dreams. That was not subtle at all.
Right.
That's pretty on the nose there. Gash across my heart.
Yeah. And that's that dream. So a dream about her dead mom. Cozy. Very nice. Chapter 20.
Chapter 20, we're back in the early morning darkness to bake pies again.
Yes, right.
Cops are all gone. And she says this, this triggered a story for me. I went in, hung my coat and scarf, and brewed up a pot of steaming coffee.
Okay.
Steaming seemed unnecessary.
Sure.
But it reminded me when I was in junior high, we used to have, there was a milk machine. We used to have a lunch program, right? Just think nothing but lunch ladies with hairnets and serving you up, lasagna and stuff like that. But our junior high principal would write the menu, and once he just to be funny, he wrote descriptors of the food instead of just like slop and stuff. And one of his things was flowing milk.
Oh God, distressing.
And I don't know. The poor guy was just trying to throw a little spin on something, and we just mocked him. He lost all of his power and authority in one little move. Where we'd see him in the hall, and someone would just go, "Flowing milk." Who said that?
Yeah.
It just destroyed his. I think he probably just left. Like, I can't do. I blew it with that flowing milk thing.
Was it LBJ? What he's like, if I've lost Walter Cronkite, I've lost America.
Exactly.
I've got to find a new career.
Yeah. Anyway, steaming coffee reminded me of that. Yeah, you're going to use hot water. It's probably going to steam a little bit.
That's he's delivering a commencement address like 30 years later, and one of his former students, their children is in the audience, and he says something, and you just from the back of the room, flowing like milk, huh?
Oh, damn it. He just breaks down. The speech goes to hell.
Well, she starts asking some questions. She says they'd pulled a dead man out of the woods. Who was he? How did he end up in the woods behind my shop? Had he died of hypothermia? Was he homeless? Did he trip and fall and hit his head? These are all things I felt like we probably could have started addressing maybe 16, 17 chapters ago. We are at the halfway mark of the book, but... So she is asking these questions, baking pies. She's really distressing how much she needs the vacation. And then we get this end of the chapter, which we covered in Fanfic last week. But it is the context of it being as she's sort of stress baking pies to escape the dead body. She says, I needed to get back to focusing on what I was good at, which was building award-winning gingerbread houses, kicking ass and taking names, making Bailey Jackson sorry she ever entered the contest. So her priorities, again, making her sorry she ever wronged me. I looked at my reflection and changed my expression of worry into one of determination. I nodded. Then I preheated the oven.
It really is like you can imagine, if Jesse Ventura did, baking with mussels or whatever.
Oh, sure.
A cigar in his mouth. Then I preheated the oven. Bailey Jackson, you're going down.
It would be nice. Having him describing, fondant or, the piping on a particular cake would be an entertaining.
I'm gonna build up this little Christmas village with cereal treats and fondant.
Make it happen, sub-tier Food Network.
Yes.
Direct to Crackle streaming show.
Is there still a Crackle?
I don't know. That's my go-to for a network that was always just sort of there. Yes. Streaming Dragon Ball Z or something. Chapter 1, her best friend Kara comes over with 2 peppermint mochas to keep that the coziness going. And she also demonstrates the whack priorities of Christmas River. She says, did you lose your phone or something? I'm only asking because I figure the only reason you wouldn't call your best friend about a dead body being found in the woods back there would be because you lost your phone. That's got to be the only possible explanation, right? So it's again, no, like, how are you? What's going on? There's a killer on the loose. We've got to all be careful. She's just sort of upset because she had to hear it from a town gossip, I guess. I forget that, like Mildred or something, Moira.
If you think I'm going to lose my sass just because there's a dead body out there, you've got another thing coming, girlfriend.
Right. And then it's also demonstrated, she says, it's the biggest news to hit Christmas River since that tourist accidentally stepped out in front of a car 2 years ago and almost died. So a lot going on there. Accidentally, I assume, is in quotes. It could have been just like, I'm going to Christmas River. That's where I'm going to end it. But also, so that's the biggest news in 2 years. As we said before, there are a dozen more books in this series now. So shit gets real in this town pretty quick. If you had a one, accidental, hit and run happening, and that's the biggest news ever. And then you have pretty much, because we talked about this, they're not all Christmas related. We picked this one because it was Christmas related in Christmas River, but there's like 4 that are Christmas time. There was like the July 4th killings in Christmas River.
Right.
So things go to hell pretty quickly.
But apparently this is, so in the midst of the coziness, not that I've heard, she said, taking a sip of her mocha. Thank you for being cozy. Moira thinks it's a homeless man or a meth head who wandered out of the backwoods and froze to death. But Moira, she's been paranoid that she's going to get robbed by some derelict character from those woods for years.
She's been pleading with the police.
What is happening in this town?
Please do something about these meth heads out there.
Right.
The police just laugh it off. She said, and then so Cinnamon's response to that is, I started piping some decorative frosting, Jack, onto the gingerbread windows. On a different day, that crack about Moira being a paranoid lady might have made me laugh. She's not paranoid. It's well acknowledged. It's a given in this town that there are encampments of dangerous drug users. She's not paranoid. It's just, it's like, the town in Jaws being like, there are sharks out there. We all acknowledge that. You're not being paranoid. Widow Werner, or,
Oh, I can't remember.
There have been, Kittner, Widow Kittner.
Kittner, yeah.
There have been sharks eating people. So it's no longer paranoia if we're worried about being robbed by a drug user.
Yeah, and, when she was following a dog through the woods, she never even brought that up, but, she could have come across an encampment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you ever, in San Diego, ever walked in any of the valleys just between the things. You would come across encampments a lot.
Sure.
Or people were living in there. There was a lot of room. There was, it's warm.
Yeah.
It wasn't, like, can you believe it? There's someone lives out here. Like, yeah, that's well known.
Yes, you would be like, oh, you're being paranoid again, Mike.
Yeah.
And, that, and coyotes would live in those things too. And we had a friend who the coyote just came over the fence and ate their wiener dog. So if you were like, I saw a coyote. Oh, come on now. No, it ate my dog. Oh, please. Oh, that's Moira. Always just cooking up stories for the police about her night terrors. About things that legitimately happen in our town.
One of the, just an aside, the running along those walls, you could, especially if you had those night cameras, you could see the coyotes all the time. But with my naked eye, I could often see in the silhouette the giant bush rats running along.
Yep.
Remember those things?
Yeah, they would live in the the untrimmed parts of the palm trees as well.
Yes, and you could just see them running across the silhouette of a wall, just like about 4 feet long, from nose to tail, just like hideously horrifying.
Oh, Moira.
Oh, Moira, you are paranoid.
We get some good physical descriptions of her rival later, but so far we haven't heard a lot about people other than, that Daniel's obviously, most people are handsome, but we get this nice description of Kara, which again would be a fun thing for someone to illustrate. It says, there's a man's voice from the front of the store, Cinnamon. Kara looked at me, raising an eyebrow, knowing right away that it wasn't John's voice. Yeah, I yelled, I'm back here, Daniel. Kara's eyebrows were just about through the roof by now.
Yes. Yeah, this starts a thing of weird physicalities come up. They've been haven't been around yet, but they show up in a big way.
Great. And just like Warren, I don't think Kara is drunk right now. It's 9:30, so she's probably got another hour or two before she starts hitting it. But she starts berating Daniel just like Warren did. She says, "What happened to you? You just disappeared our sophomore year without so much as a word, breaking Sin's heart without even calling." I mean, surely the brother's murder made headlines in this town of 5,000, right? Like,
what happened to you?
That'd be the biggest news since the tourist stepped in front of a car.
It's like the thing occasionally when I was younger, someone would insult my mother or something, and I could say, because it's true, my mom's dead.
What? Wow, nice.
Which I only did to when people were being
sure.
But hey, I just played the card. I'm sorry. There you go. Ace and jacks. I win.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this seems like Daniel would pull that.
How you like that flowing milk?
Yeah. Come on, Daniel, just do it.
Yeah.
Shut her down. She's coming at you all brassy and everything.
Yeah.
My brother died.
And she says, Cinnamon protests. Seems like, she's just being dramatic. You didn't break my heart or anything. And Kara, doubles down. Says, you're just being dishonest, Kara said devilishly. Remember, I was the one holding your hand while you cried. And Daniel interrupts. He's like, I'm sorry to barge in here. But it's like, you've got to, deliver this news and then get the hell out of here. Because clearly these women in this town are unwell. They do not let things go.
Right. I do think it was good of Daniel to pretend that he didn't remember Kara. It was a nice opening move, though.
Oh, what does he say?
Oh, she's like, I sat next to you.
Yeah.
Kara Carmichael, U.S. government and politics, ring a bell. You sat right next to me for half the year. He thought about it some time and then said, oh, that's right, with old Mr. Stevenson. How could I forget? So he's giving it to her, too, so that's pretty good.
I had a good friend of mine, we were talking at a birthday party recently, and he brought up that I was in a class of his junior year of high school, which I had absolutely no memory of. We hadn't been friends at that point in time. So I guess stuff like this can happen. You can have that memory.
Yeah, I had a conversation with a person for, 3 minutes and the whole time going, oh my God, where do I know this person from? And this was in my 20s or something, when you're only that young, you only have 3 epochs in your life, right?
Yeah.
Like your high school, your college, and then my first job or something. So I'm thinking of that, and I'm like, I think I must have gone to high school with this person. And then I go, so do you get back to Grantsburg much? And she goes, what? That's where you went to high school. I didn't go there.
Wow.
And I was like, I mean, everybody likes to go there, right? There was no coming back. She just raged at me for 2 minutes and stormed off.
Wow, her eyebrows must have been like above her head.
They hovered off into the air. She had to retrieve them with a ladder. It was terrible.
The guy that, who was this teacher? Oh, yeah, old Mr. Stevenson. The teacher that was our physics teacher in that class that I didn't remember I was in was Dr. Fornshell, which is a great, it's a great crusty old dean name. Fornshell. He's shutting down the homecoming carnival.
And then one day he said the words flowing milk and it was all over.
Yeah.
His power base was gone.
Chapter 22, Daniel has taken her outside. He has some news for her, but first they have to talk about Warren. Daniel pretty much apologizes yet again. He says, I was a real jackass to you back in the day. Your grandfather's right. I mean, we don't have to keep drilling down on the fact that all their behavior is unwarranted, but it's funny that he has now apologized for going to his brother's funeral.
I didn't call you the next day because he was still bleeding out on the floor of the convenience store. They
thought there was a 1% chance he might, survive in a vegetative state, and we had to go there to say goodbye if that was possible.
But I just want to point out from the last paragraph of chapter 21, we stood in the frosty air looking out into the shadowy woods. First paragraph of this chapter, I laughed, the frosty air feeling sharp and good in my lungs.
Very nice.
So keeping it frosty.
Daniel's news that he has to deliver to her is that he has learned who the body is. So this is a major revelation in a book that's been pretty much devoid of them. And his name was Mason Barstow. He was a judge for the Gingerbread Junction contest. And here's where the physicality comes as well.
Indeed.
She says, my jaw nearly came unhinged.
That's a strange picture too. Is that a thing that happens?
I'm picturing like the rat fink driving one of those hot rods. Doesn't he have his mouth like nearly down to the floor like that?
Yeah, I sadly pictured something. One of the most disturbing things I've ever seen is one of those nature shows. A lion goes after one of the big bison or whatever, and it kicks his jaw off.
Oh, God.
And then they have this sad shot of this lion wandering around with the jaw like hanging from.
God.
You just don't see lions like that. I'm going to be dead in a couple days.
Wow.
Grim. Anyway, sorry to bring that into it.
But I mean, this is grim stuff. I mean, a man has died, and she says all that talk from Kara about the dead man probably being homeless or a druggie who wandered too far away from his meth lab made me think it could have been true. But Mason Barstow, the Gingerbread Junction judge of almost 10 years who spent most of his year in a vacation home in Arizona, who came back to Christmas River every year just to judge the contest, who wore designer clothes and jackets and stuck out like a sore thumb in a former lodging town, who was stodgy and harsh, and particularly harsh when it came to my gingerbread houses, it seemed. That's we got a particular kind of madness we've just unloaded here.
Oh, just backfilled all of that stuff in there. Like if this was book 5, you could just go, remember, he's the stuffy, judge for the gingerbread contest.
Yeah.
The one who has a monocle. And
yeah.
But I pictured, I had to reach way back for this, but Mr. Drysdale from the Beverly Hillbillies was like, well, I never...
Okay. Yes.
I'm going to judge this, but I don't know. My name is Mason Barstow.
Yeah, he's got like a nice hat and some, horn rimmed glasses. It appears. I was picking a little fashiony, or like the guy who judges a top model or something like that.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Project Runway. I'm guessing. Yeah.
That's another. Like he wears scarves. Like
pocket squares.
Unnecessary scarves that. I had when I was at the Guthrie Theater, we had a director who wore, at all times, in all weather, a way too long scarf. And then I'm not kidding, when he was making a point, would like throw the scarf over the left shoulder.
Man.
Damn it. I wanted good reading from that, and then toss the scarf. It was a good shtick.
But it is a very much invented, I mean... The idea that someone would travel from Arizona to here every year to judge the Gingerbread House contest. I don't know what his credentials are, I don't know how you reach the level of traveling Gingerbread House judging contest judger, but I guess in a town where there's pro bono podiatrists, I guess anything is possible.
She says later, right, there's some reason for it, that the gingerbread contest became such a huge thing.
Sure. I mean,
She gives some reason for it later, but at this point, we don't have one. It's just like this guy flies in to judge a gingerbread costume or a gingerbread contest. Like, that doesn't, I don't know.
Yeah. And flies with his dog, I guess, right? Because it was his pet dog. Is that revealed here? Yeah. But anyway, Daniel says that he's a cop, and she's, of course, feels betrayed by this. It says, Sheriff Trumbo asked me to help out with the investigation. I was a lieutenant back in Fresno. She says, I wasn't sure, but I immediately felt anger. For some reason, I felt deceived. She's just an A+ at like making herself the victim and feeling disproportionate rage about things that really shouldn't affect her.
So just to be clear, he came into town for some other reason because this hadn't been discovered yet, right?
Yeah.
And then so immediately upon finding the body, they go, hey, drunk guy, you're in town. Right. You used to be a cop. Will you please help me out? That's how it went.
You know how in fiction, how small town cops love big city cops coming in and pushing them around? That's just a well-established trope. It's never works the opposite way.
I'm taking over this murder site.
Sounds good. Hey, all right.
Perfect.
Call if you need anything. Go into the bar.
Yeah, I'll be pushing some rhubarb pie around a plate if you need me.
But they drill down once she's become enraged at his profession or former profession, and that is a very standard Hallmark. I mean, that's 1/3 of the people that the person who goes back to the small town falls in love with are the small town cops, right?
Yeah, sure. Yep. But the cops, or just like blue collar or something. Yeah.
Yeah, probably like a librarian or teacher helps like that way too. But they describe her Mason Barstow. Is it Barstow? Mason Barstow?
Mm-hmm.
As the her biggest hurdle at the competition, aside from Gretchen O'Malley. So right away, you see that this is probably something that has been done to potentially frame her here. He says that last year he told me my gingerbread house was amateurish and could have been made by a 10-year-old.
Your gingerbread house was amateurish and could have been made by a 10-year-old.
I'm a professional baker. Certainly it has risen above a certain, level of standard here.
I have a very successful pie shop. I have won the medal like many times.
And it says, it wasn't my best year. I'm the first to admit that, but I don't think it warranted that kind of criticism. Sounds like a tool, Daniel said of the recently murdered man.
Daniel using the word tool on the recently murdered man makes him the tool, I'm afraid.
Very much so. And it says, she says, well, you didn't hear that from me. And Daniel says, so you're saying he wasn't very well liked by others either. Why on earth did you keep inviting him back for over a decade? Oh, we hate this guy, but damn it, he's the best gingerbread house judge out there.
I hate your guts down to every atom of your being, but damn it, I respect you.
And normally this is the sort of thing that someone in her position would be presiding over. And here's our judge. It's, the mayor, and then the proprietor of the one pie shop in town.
Yes.
And then the local, the principal of the high school type of thing. There's no need for a traveling celebrity judge. But I guess she does say it's a big deal. It's a huge tourist attraction. It's gotten even bigger since you left. The town makes a lot of money off of it. And I think Mason liked the feeling of power he got from it, from quashing people's dreams and calling them amateurish. And it says he was a former successful restaurateur, so that's his qualification for this.
Yeah, but they don't have to hire him. I don't know. Maybe he's a theatrical fella. Again, maybe he does throw that scarf around, and
Yeah.
I once did shared the stage with Jonathan Edwards from Lost in Space.
Okay.
The
Dr.
doctor?
Smith?
Dr.
Okay.
Smith.
Nice.
And he, same shtick, pointing his finger and, Erwin Allen used to come on the set and he'd point that damn finger at me. I hated that finger. And it was, I could just see all the TV critics, looking down at their book going, oh, God, I've put up with this for 45 years.
Right, yes.
Damn it.
He's he's Gandalf's character in Cats.
Very much so, yes. Yes, exactly that.
The name of that guy escaped me for whatever reason.
Can I rise to a point of question here? Mm-hmm. Who's, we know who Gretchen is. Moira and Gretchen are different people, but they seem to share the same kind of traits.
So Gretchen is the woman with her nose up in the air.
Nose in the air.
I thought
Moira's
that was
the paranoid?
Yes, but Moira was mentioned for the first time, as she said. Why did I have to hear about this from Moira?
Okay.
She's been paranoid about this for years, so that just was a character introduced there.
Okay. Woof. All right. Good. Okay.
And yeah, so she hates Gretchen, but she's not on the level. I mean, she hates a lot of people, but Gretchen is nowhere near the level of Bailey.
Right.
Bailey is just white hot simmering loathing. Worse than Hitler, and Gretchen is probably, I guess, on the same level as Hitler.
And Bailey is, sassy, right?
Yeah.
So she just replaced Bailey in her life once she ran off with her husband. She's like, I got to get another sass. And then Kara showed up, I'll be your sassy friend.
Yeah, I guess.
Who wears big bracelets and stuff like that.
Yes. Kara runs an ornament shop, I guess. So she was never available to do the pie baking assistant thing. She had her own shockingly successful business going on in this town of 5,000 people. But
right. but the last line. Oh, do you have something before the last line in this chapter?
Oh, no, go ahead.
Well, the last line finally gives us the location. Murdered, he said, and not 100 yards from your store, Cinnamon. So the dog led her 100 yards from the store?
A football field? Not 100 yards.
Field away.
So yeah,
it's right. It's right out back, just past the trash cans.
Right.
But she said she was going deeper into the woods.
Yeah. Stumbling like Jack Torrance. If I walked out to my bird feeder, I probably wouldn't invoke the Shining Heads Maze.
Yes. Anyway, that just struck me. I was assuming it was a half mile into the woods.
Yes, definitely.
It's right there. She could look out her window and see the hand.
See the hand sticking up. Yeah, maybe that's going to be a potential hole in her story and casting suspicion upon her.
Yeah. Did someone move the body?
Oh. I also like that he says it looks like it was a homicide, murdered a week ago, and she tries to keep her mouth from dropping again, I guess, but this comes as news to her. So I don't know what she thought. She just assumed that he was like everyone else in town, stumbling home drunk from the bar.
Yeah.
Like what did you think had happened?
I don't know.
But also the judge for the junction contest, which is I think happening in probably 3 or 4 more days. He gets to town 2 weeks early. Like he's got to adjust to the altitude or something.
Yeah, I guess he's got to. I don't know. Does he watch through the window as they start assembling the panels? He's got to keep everything above board. I don't know.
The cedar scent in the air ruins my palate, so I must get here early so I can adjust to the climb.
That could be it. But yeah, maybe he was. She would have assumed, like you said, that he was, stumbling through the woods looking for burnt pies to eat off her back. What, he was murdered?
Yes.
I thought he just fell over.
I mean, that smacks of him going up to town early to shack up with an old meth buddy or something like that.
Oh yeah, he was going to one of the encampments.
Mm-hmm.
No, don't tell anyone. But let's do some of that meth.
Yes. All right, I hear someone's got a sock drawer to rearrange. I'll be up all night to that. Before we get to chapter 23, let's do some fanfic here.
Fanfic. Real fanfic.
All right, so this is going to be real or fanfic, which is when our beloved Patreon supporters send us in their own fanfic for Christmas River. And I make you guess whether this is some of that fanfic that they've submitted or whether it is a real passage from the final third of the book. Patreon has been going pretty strong. We covered a bonus cozy mystery last week, which was called Christmas Presents by Riley Blake. It was pretty incredible. It wasn't long enough to devote multiple episodes here to, but it was about some children who are orphaned during a tragic accident right before Christmas, and some batty old dames who live in a retirement community sort of have to investigate this. There was murder, torture, guy's foot taped to tied to a accelerator of a car.
Adoption in an old folks' home, wasn't that part of it?
Just some horny old people. It was really something special. I recommend you go. I sort of described it to you. I hope we can do another one of those before the season's over, because she's written some other incredible sounding books.
I'll read one.
Nice. It was patreon.com/372 pages if you want to check that out. But so yeah, we've got 5 passages here, and you unknowingly somehow have right?
Yes, I did. I'll tell the story.
Okay.
I was looking for a particular phrase that amused me because it was an odd phrase, and I looked it up in my ebook. Mm-hmm. Well, the ebook has the next in the Murder in Christmas River, or the Christmas River series, Mayhem, and the exact phrase was there, an odd phrase, so not one you would ever see repeated.
Frosty
air. We'll get to it in a moment.
Got it.
But so it stuck out, and so I was like, oh, there it is. I wanted to make sure I got it exactly right, and I looked at it, and it was in the first chapter of the next book, and it gave away the murderer.
Devastating. That's ridiculous.
So through the fault of the author using unusual phrases, I now know who the murderer is. So please don't do any fanfic based off of that.
Yeah, well, people did fanfic based off of that. We got a lot of fanfic, brother. But a lot of the ones that were about the victim, I thought were just going to be too wacky, I thought. So They weren't going to work. I intentionally, before you revealed that you knew who the killer was, I had already not picked them.
Okay.
But I'm extremely curious who the person is here, because really there's only so many people it could be, unless I don't. You've been good about not tipping your hand, however. So
not a peep from me.
All right. Well, here's fanfic. We have these could all be real, or they could all be fanfic, or a combination of the two. And here's number 1. Why did you become a cop? I asked. After I left Christmas River, I was messed up, Daniel explained. I drifted for a while before ending up in the big city, Fresno. They had a career fair where I met my future captain. He could see I was lost. He asked if I had a special need for justice, so I told him about my brother. He told me that becoming a cop could be exactly what I needed to get it. I signed up on the spot. I was almost afraid to ask, but I did. Did you get it? Justice for your brother? Daniel looked down. He picked up one of the gingerbread robbers I'd made. He smiled as he broke the cookie in half and took a bite. It's delicious.
Oh, boy. You may have got me because I'm going to say that's real. But
Okay.
it's the subtlety of it that I like. I mean, if you can call that subtle. You know what I mean.
Yes. Number 2. I entered the clearing and gasped. Where Christmas River should be, the dream now presented a frozen lake. Huckleberry was already on the other side. He looked back at me, not saying anything. Hux, I cried, come back! He did not answer. He bolted through the trees on the far side and disappeared. To hell with it, I said, stepping forward. I was going to brave the rink without my ice skates. I made it no more than 5 paces before I sprawled face down on the cold surface. I lay there, shivering for a moment, trying to catch my breath. That's when I saw him. Mason Barstow. He lay just below the frozen surface, face pale and mouth hanging open. The gaping wound in his chest turned the water all around him a deep shade of red, and I screamed, and I screamed, and screamed.
The unhinging jaw there almost sucked me in. For some reason, I'm going to guess that she doesn't dream again, so I'm going to say that that's fanfic.
Okay.
I have no basis for that, so.
You don't think it's going Tony Soprano on us?
Right.
Number 3. A tear slid down my face, and I knew I was cooked. I was. I was sentimental. I was sappy. I was soft and gooey. The walls came crashing down around me. He turned all my hard edges into soft ones, all my cynicism into optimism, all my despair into hope. Daniel Brightman, singing an Otis Redding song about how strong his love was on a snowy Christmas Eve on the back porch of my shop, ruined the cold, empty person that I had been. He came to the end of the song, and my face was melted with tears.
Yeah, these are tough. I blew it last week, right?
2 out of 5, I think.
Yeah, terrible. Okay. Whiffed. I'm going to say fanfic.
Number 4. Warren snored softly, splayed out in his off-white padded recliner. I had brought him home from the bar as usual, and he was excited to catch Ice Station Zebra on Turner Classic Movies. A little more than 10 minutes into the movie, the booze took full effect, and he drifted off to sleep. I sat on the couch beside him, twiddling my fork around the last morsel of my huckleberry pie. Unsurprisingly, Huckleberry did not like the taste of huckleberries. I guess I should have seen that coming. I wasn't sure if I was fond of them either. Far too tart and bitter for my liking. I'd had enough of one tart today, and I was feeling bitter enough as it was. I had one more long day of baking before the day of the Gingerbread Junction competition. That is, assuming Kara and I managed to maintain our sanity. I sighed and looked up at the film. Ernest Borgnine's smiling face seemed to be mocking me.
Oh, I feel like that's just bait dangling in front of my face. Borgnine, Ice Station Zebra. Wasn't that Howard Hughes' favorite movie?
I don't know.
As he sat there, I believe, growing his fingernails out and saving his urine in jars, he was watching over and over again Ice Station Zebra.
Wow.
I'm going to say that's fanfic.
Okay. And the final one, number 5. Sheriff Trumbo shut the cell door. I'm sorry, Cinnamon. I don't have a choice. I would have burst into tears just then if I hadn't still been in shock. I would probably cry later, but I was too numb at the moment. Where's Huckleberry? I asked. The sheriff shrugged. I don't know, Sin. Nobody has seen him since the fire. That did it. The tears started to well up in my eyes, but they weren't tears of grief. They were tears of anger. The sheriff looked away and said, just ask for Deputy Harlow if you need more blankets or something. These cells get a little cold at night. I didn't respond, and he left, closing the door to the office. I was alone in a holding cell on Christmas Eve. As the tears streamed down my cheeks, I knew what I had to do. I would call Warren in the morning, and he would bail me out. Then I would bail myself out by finding the son of a bitch that was trying to frame me.
A lot of tears streaming in this, which is on brand, so I'm not faulting it. I don't know. I'll say it's real, because I want that to be true, that she does
Goes
get
to jail.
framed. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see what happened. Number 1 was Justice is Delicious Biting the Gingerbread Robbers. You said real. That was fanfic written by Craig.
Craig.
Number 2 was the dream of the river turning into a lake or into a pond that's frozen and Mason Barstow below the surface. You said fanfic. That was fanfic written by Edmund.
Okay.
Number 3 was the soft and gooey Otis Redding song by Daniel Brightman. That's How Strong My Love Is. You said fanfic. That was real, submitted by 2 people, Chris and Vincent.
Oh, come on. I saw someone in the comments was sympathetic to my plight having to do this.
Why? Why is this one more difficult?
Because singing an Otis Redding song. Sawyer from Lost.
Yeah.
With his shirt open to his middle of his chest, doing finger guns and singing Otis Redding. I'm supposed to accept that as real?
Number 4, Ice Station Zebra, Ernest Borgnine. You said fanfic. That was fanfic written by Max. Whew. I thought that was a little too much, but I couldn't resist Ernest Borgnine's smiling face.
Well, he's watching The Big Valley, and what is the shows he likes to
his other movie, I forget what that one was, but his favorite movie was another one about World War II.
Yeah.
And then, so I think you're 2 for 2. Number 5, her getting locked in prison and there having been a fire. You said real. That was fanfic written by him.
Damn it.
So
damn.
That's another 2 for
Terrible.
5. Man.
Well, can you honestly say you do better?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, we had a lot of other good ones. But there was a very funny one about Dr. John revealing that the reason he came in to eat the rhubarb strawberry pie, or to not eat it but to order it, was because that was his dead wife's favorite pie. But I thought that might have been a little too funny and not less tricky. But let's get back into it.
Yeah, all right. I'll hang my head and get back into it.
So they've just revealed it was Mason Barstow and he was murdered. Chapter 23, they're back in the shop. Dr. John is there taking a small bite of his strawberry rhubarb pie.
So he does eat it. His throat closes and he chokes it down.
Mason Barstow, he must have felt as low as a nutria wanted into the gator pen there.
Oh, yeah, that'll guarantee.
That's this, that, or the other.
So maybe he eats it and then spits in his napkin?
It's possible, yeah. Like Jerry Seinfeld when the woman kept cooking him mutton.
I don't recall that one, but okay.
But yeah, so he's there, and I think Daniel's not there, but Dr. John starts to, speaking of Sawyer from Lost, this is pretty much how every episode of Lost would go. It's like, you tell me what we're doing on this island. Like, all right, Jack, like, I'll tell you. And then someone crashes through the door or something, or like there's an explosion, like as they're about to reveal information, and then the season ends. He says, listen, Cinnamon, I know you're probably still in shock with all of this. She probably is, less than 100 yards. But I feel like I've got to tell you something. And if I don't now, I'll probably never have the courage to. You don't really have to. Just then the door opened and the jingle rang and a frigid gust of wind came blowing in. So
it's a classic soap opera thing too, right?
Sure,
someone taking someone in their arms and like, see if you enjoy this, and then like, John, what are you doing?
Ring, ring. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, she says Cinnamon seems to be on the verge of some serious medical incident with all these jaw droppings and everything. It says the woman says, take your time, honey. Not the woman, the witch. That would have been a more accurate description of her. I stood paralyzed for a moment, completely unable to move. It's like, I know Dr. John only does feet, but he must be able to be like, you've lost feeling in the side of your face. Your jaw's gone slack. Please let me help you.
She actually says that her heart would give out. She wasn't sure she'd be able to handle all this surprises and shocks.
Yeah.
But this is great. So this is her, this is the cheating, no good, the woman who stole her husband.
Bailey.
But this used to be her second, right?
Yes, her former assistant.
Yeah. So she comes into the store and says, take your time, honey. And like snaps her gum and
yeah,
and Paris Hilton comes in. But she does say, "Don't call me honey."
Mm-hmm.
And then, Bailey is, what's the description of her here?
Oh, man.
She walked closer toward me, her heels clicking against the floor, and all that cheap, ugly jewelry she wore clinked and clanked together like she was a prisoner of Alcatraz. I mean, Alcatraz is famous, but it did close 59 years ago.
Yes. Yeah, but she is watching The Big Valley as she falls asleep.
That's true. She's an old soul, so
Exactly.
I guess she's owed that one.
But you're saying she did employ Bailey, and it did seem like they had been good friends, but she has very quickly turned on Bailey's aesthetic because, like she said, whoops, there goes my mic. Cheap, ugly jewelry. She also says with her bleach blonde hair, trashy fur and feather fashion, a pleased, self-satisfied look plastered across her face. So you feel like she'd been working for a while. She might have pulled her aside and been like, hey, we're going for more of a, down home, like Zoe Deschanel and Elf kind of look here. And you're like, just like a, like you said, Paris Hilton or just, stripper kind of aesthetic, which is not super cozy for my pie shop, Bailey.
Yeah, who's the woman who was in? She was in like Best in Show and stuff. She's a funny comic actress, but she was in what's the stupid show? Two waitresses.
Coolidge? Is that?
Yes. She does that shtick, just putting on a bunch of stuff and walking into a room, just blowing the doors off the place. That's what this woman is doing, and she's what, 29 or something?
She was 33, but I'm sure she's younger if she's managed to run off with her former husband.
Yeah.
But she then does call her a home-wrecking bitch, and her cheeks grow red with fury. It's an actual bitch. It hasn't been changed. So Dr. John has just dropped his fork into his pie, and he thinks he's about to see, a scenario he's envisioned many times coming through, which is a cat fight in the pie shop. Another cozy mystery title.
It's like when I was, I lived for a while at a nice apartment building, and there was a cop in there, and Bridget one time witnessed at the pool, like a full-out fight between two bikini-clad girls.
Melrose Place.
And the cop in the building later said, when that call came in, all the cops were like, I'll take it. I'm going. No, I got it. Bikini fight at the...
Suffered head trauma, There's her head at the concrete.
All right.
A laptop was thrown into the pool.
Holy crap!
Yeah, it was something. Not something you usually see there. But yeah, so Dr. John tries to patch things over, and he said it in that doctory kind of tone that just felt like he was prodding a hot poker into my wounds. So yeah, like a doctor from 1104. He was actually using a hot poker to cauterize that wound, so you're fine.
A doctory tone. It's not a, does this hurt, or let me bang your knee with a rubber mallet? Like, what? I'm not really sure I get that, but
a doctory tone when you're a podiatrist. I don't know what that tone is like. I've never gone to a podiatrist.
Ooh, I don't like the look of that corn fungus. That's my doctory tone.
Why don't you pop that shoe off there and show me the inflamed toe? Doctor, that's not... Why are you saying that during our cat fight here? That's not helping at all.
It's my standard tone. I'm surprised you've never noticed it before. But Bailey, in her hoochie high heels, has been keeping her hand in a very unnatural gesture on the side of her face, and it's so that she can show off the giant sparkly rock on one of her fingers, which is a very funny way to do it. Like, that's a standard, is showing off your ring by, sort of flopping your wrist down so you can see that. But she's decided to just sort of like put it to the side of her face like she's aghast about something.
Which, she must watch reality TV shows or something where people do that. Like, well, get a load of this,
Yes.
Like, wow.
Yeah, right before a drink is thrown in their face. But
yes.
So she intentionally says, get the hell out of my shop. And she's like, well, I'll see you this weekend. And Dr. John sort of thinks that this is his chance, maybe. He's like, are you okay? in. That's his doctory tone. And she's like, I can't talk right now. I need a minute. Can you give me some room for the love of Christmas River?
Yes. The book fully turns to the camera and winks at us here.
Yes. And since this is the, thinnest skin, pettiest town in America, Dr. John walks out the door in a huff. As she's just, he clearly understands this dynamic that's happened here because she knows she had been married. But she has a rush of red-hot anger that soon gave way to self-pity, that soon gave way to torturous thoughts just because they were getting married. And she stole the husband 2 years ago, right?
Yes, it can only be 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, but like they're people in their 30s that have been together for 2 years. She surely must have seen this coming. Like, what do you think the end game was here?
Yeah. But it ends with I try to look them up. Not many of the ends of the chapters are as action hero-y as this is. Mm-hmm. There's only a couple, but this one is good. I wiped away the tear stains as best I could. Stains. Yes. The door was open. The door jingled. It was Sheriff Trumbo. Hard paragraph. And I knew from the expression on his face, he wasn't there to eat pie. That's like the, do you get the Who screaming there at the... Yeah!
But it is a good mental image, too, because most people who just, like, walk into them are just, like, rubbing their hands together and licking their lips, Is that the about to eat pie expression? Or
they already have the big white napkin tied around their neck.
Yes. Or their ears are flapping as they float through the air with the pie scent lines that are...
Yep, their feet.
And chapter 24 has him, he comes in, he reveals that Mason has been murdered, and there were several wounds in his chest that police believed had been made by a kitchen knife, which is something, that only professional pie bakers own, so clearly all roads point to her being the perpetrator here.
Kitchen knives.
Right? It's like, also, I guess it's a town where there's probably some hunters going on, but it is funny
I suspect someone from one of those rental houses in Nashville that we go to that have like 7 kitchen knives, all of them dull.
Yeah.
Like, so obviously somebody keeps buying a kitchen knife. Like, damn it, I can't cut anything. We'll just go buy one and then we'll leave it in the drawer. Yeah. So it could be someone from a Nashville rental house.
Yes, if there was 8 other attempts to pierce his skin with it, but the knife was just too blunt to go
dull.
in.
Yeah.
And he does reveal that apparently they thought I was a person of interest in the case, as made evident by Sheriff Trumbo's skeptical expression and his reluctance to answer any question I asked him. So, okay, they found a kitchen knife. It's less than 100 yards from her shop. I hope they have at least... done some preliminary, question asking on the camps of dangerous drug addicts that everyone knows about and fears in town. Just from a police work standpoint.
That would just be good. Like, Daniel, could you do that? Because you retired from the force, or you got kicked off the force. Who knows why he's no longer a cop. It was your rampant drinking, apparently, that got you. But you cover the camps, and I'll walk down St. Nick Boulevard and casually interview the people who own pie shops and tinsel stores.
Since they've got those deadly kitchen knives.
I would like one of our listeners who is, again, a good artist to paint a picture of the Sheriff Trumbo. He looked down at her, looked at me like I was a mouse in a field below him with his hawk-like eyes. So hawk-like eyes.
Okay.
Then the sheriff stroked his uneven beard.
Interesting.
And then later, good, he said, plopping his hat on his head. It made him look like a sad version of Smokey the Bear. So, hawk eyes, uneven beard, sad Smokey the Bear. If anyone could tie that all together, I would very much appreciate it. And we'll post it on Patreon.
Thank you. Yes, that would be wonderful. Is Smokey the Bear ever happy? He's very stressed. He's delivering a serious message and like.
He's not even happy when the fire danger is low that day.
Right.
He still looks pretty glum about it all.
The sheriff, though, as he identifies her as this person of interest by saying, So you've been on a losing streak at the Gingerbread Junction lately, haven't you? It was a loaded question, and I knew exactly where he was headed with it. I heard that Mason was a very harsh judge. And that's when he looks at her with his hawk-like eyes. I heard he was particularly selective when it came to your work. So he's this is as close as it comes to going full bad cop, but I really wish it had been like, all right, Cinnamon, like, you know what they do to pie bakers in prison? Like, they go after them on the first day. They're worse than the kitty diddlers. Like, your ass is going downtown.
You'll be baking pies on Alcatraz if I have anything to do with it.
No. They put handcuffs around your ankles in Alcatraz. I hear that it clinks when you walk. Yeah, slams her up against the oven. It like turns the burner on and just holds her cheek a few inches above it. But
if it was up to me, I'd throw you in that oven right now and turn it up to 450 with convection.
Please. But the judge harshing her work is the main, sort of evidence quote they have against her. She has won the competition several times, right?
Yeah, but that losing streak, I'm fingering the kitchen knife myself, as I'm thinking about that. But doesn't she, as a business owner, like she's part of does the Chamber of Commerce hire the judge?
Hires the judge and foots the bill for the expensive reward.
Right, and could they not just go, hey guys, expenses they've crept up every year. I know we keep getting more people. Well, what do we charge at the door for the gingerbread competition?
It's a free thing to observe.
Okay, so free. So we're making no money. So it's all just that. But do we need to fly a judge in, a celebrity judge, 2 weeks early, first class, and we have to do the pet charge for the flying as well?
Putting him up at the Rudolph Astoria, the fanciest hotel in town, because obviously that's what he insists on. He flies first class, and his dog is not getting checked in the luggage compartment either. But yeah,
we have 4 restaurateurs in town. Could we have one of them? I could cycle in.
Listen, when this guy comes to town, ornament sales at Kara's ornament shops go up 4% that week because of all the tourists that come into town. So that's an additional 60 cents per ornament.
Well, he could be that kind of guy who does go into shops and and people watch him as he goes like, I'll have 4 of those, and I'll have 3 of them.
I'll buy the Elephant Man skeleton.
So that it could be worth it. I don't know how it pencils out. I'm just saying, if he's like calling your work, junior high Gingerbread House, you might just go, let's not bring that guy back. He's a real dick.
Right, because, it claims that the tourist attraction is the competition. I would assume that means people would come to town, they would look at the displayed houses. It'd be something you could do for the weeks leading up to Christmas, just being like, wow, that's amazing. Look at what they did here. Just sort of like a sandcastle competition. You'd walk by and look at them. Nobody cares to go see the judging. You walk by and you're like, oh, that's very impressive, cool. Like, I bet that tastes delicious. You're not going to sit there as the guy's been like, this looks like a squirrel could have made this house. And all the tourists applaud at the cutting remarks. Like, to me, that's less of the attraction than the actual houses would be.
Right, and money-wise, it doesn't seem like, think of an ice sculpture competition or something. You watch a guy working with his saw for like 2 minutes. Like, that's very impressive. Oh, that's going to be an angel. Cool. All right. We paid them nothing for that. That was all free.
But she is, so to lay this out, she has been identified as a person of interest in a murder trial. Mm-hmm. There is a dead body was found 100 feet away. And not to mention the fact that she knows she didn't kill anybody. So she is very much aware that a murderer is still on the loose in her town. Mm-hmm. So a lot of stress. Here's her thoughts. And that rock on her finger. A rock that was about twice as big as the small diamond ring he'd given me when we got engaged. So just a petty shrew at this whole... That's what she's hung up on at this point in time. He's bought her hoochie ex-partner a bigger diamond than she was given when she got engaged. Did she give that ring back? I'm very curious.
I don't know. And she starts crying like she hadn't since she first found out about Evan and Bailey. And then the back door of the pie shop burst open, and a meth head came in with a gun and pointed at her, trembling. And then he shot her in the shoulder, and then she really had something to cry about.
Yes.
So
an interesting twist at the end of that chapter.
No. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. She's still thinking cozy. I like it. Stay on brand.
But speaking of cozy, she says, there was only one thing I could think of that might make me feel better. Kill another judge. No. She loses faith in Christmas, walks downtown, and ends up at the Humane Society. So chapter 25 has her attempting to buy a dog. You get a somewhat, I think, needless description of the person behind the counter, who is Bridget Andrews, who was the kid sister of Travis Andrews, a guy I went to high school with. Got to get that character count up there if you're going to be really cozy. And she tries to adopt Huckleberry because that's what's going to restore her faith in Christmas. But the dog has already been adopted, and Bridget won't tell her who because it's policy.
And then so talk about a repeated beat. There's only one thing I could do.
Yeah.
Drink.
Yes.
So she goes to the Pine Needle Tavern and just gets hammered with Warren. I mean, that's her goal here anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. She says a glass of whiskey with my name on it was waiting me there. And chapter 26, Harold, that jerk Harold, he's been seeing dollar signs. That's Lisa's mother from the room.
That's right.
Harold is our favorite off-screen character in the room. But Harold is the bartender, is giving her whiskey. He says, anybody would have to be out of his mind to choose that Bailey over you. And she says, oh, Bailey's got some things going for her. She's attractive, young, smart, not under investigation for murder. I mean, a lot of things.
Attractive, young, and smart, like coming in with cheap feathers on, and
right.
Are guys in small towns like, oh, hachi machi, or are they like, what the hell is going on with her?
Yeah, where did she pick up feathers from?
She looks like a Broadway star from 32.
Yeah,
what is she doing?
She has a Carmen Miranda fruit hat. I mean, I know Cinnamon's into old stuff, but this is particularly odd.
And then this could be my favorite thing. It's may not be as fun to other people, but he smiled. This is Harold, the bartender, smiled, and then was called away by Philip Cook, who was sitting at the other end of the bar getting quietly drunk. Philip was, in impolite terms, the town drunk. Wait a minute. Warren is not the town drunk?
Incredible.
There's someone who crushes Warren?
How is that possible?
That is amazing.
Warren is driven home from the bar every night and falls asleep ranting in front of Turner Classic Movies. So what could Philip possibly do?
That's one of those things, it's a cliche, but I've heard people say it like, that guy's here all the time. Every time I'm in this bar, I see that guy.
Yeah.
Like, yes.
So is he doing our joke? He's knocking on the door at 11:59 if the bar opens at noon type of thing?
Yeah, he's throwing pebbles at the window. Like, come on, I know you're in there. Just open it up.
And, a town drunk is obviously going to run afoul of the law at some point in time, whether it's vagrancy or DUI type of thing. But the town drunk is always sort of, in fiction, regarded somewhat kindly and warmly.
Yes. It's just funny that I wonder, it's kind of like, beating the score on the trivia machine or something, whether Warren goes like, oh, damn it, I'm going to get there before Philip today. And I'm gonna get so hammered.
Right.
He thinks he's the town drunk.
Warren is there. He's there.
He is there, yes.
He's sitting with a group of old timers at the usual table. She had her first whiskey with him, but didn't want to cramp Warren's style because they had old man things to talk about. So I was like,
what are those things, do you think?
Best strategy for walking around the locker room nude and making everyone else uncomfortable as Gold Bond application techniques, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think when do you put your right leg up or your left leg when you grab a full handful of medicated powder and then throw it up at your sack? Which leg do you put up, and which yellowed toenails do you show?
Yeah, they were discussing the season's new grunts and exhalations as you're standing at a urinal with one hand up against the wall as you're trying to get it going. Or
doing complimenting. This was a thing I got in a locker room when I used to go to an old club, like one of those, with like leather chairs, the old guys would go like, "Hey, you're looking pretty good there, young fella. You working out?" Like, stop! What do you don't comment on it. And then there was an ante room where there was wingback chairs and newspapers on those, like bamboo things hung up there.
Wow, did you eat walnuts in there?
Yes, fully naked guys would sit there and read the newspaper,
Dear
but all of
God.
them over the age.
What kind of
7.
club was this?
It was called the. It's not there anymore, but it was.
So it was a health club?
Yes, it was like they had apartments. It was very old timey. It's an institution.
It sounds like it.
But yeah, old guys would sit. I always thought that's the outer room. That's the line. You do not come out there. But there was no women. It was part of the locker room, but it was like a nice room. But guys would fully sit there naked on an oxblood, wingback chair reading the Wall Street Journal.
Hey, young blood, what's doing the crossword here, what's a 4-letter word for something dangling beneath a wingback chair? I think it starts with an S.
Hang on, let me retalk and ask it again.
Oh, so she has been doing a lot of drinking, and then she talks about how she wasn't a fan of Mason, but she didn't want him dead. He couldn't have been all bad. And she says that I hoped the gingerbread houses, wherever he was, were finally living up to his standards, which is
Oh, boy.
I like that she's not specifying. I don't know. He could be. Very, very distinct possibility he went to hell, but I hope they have good gingerbread houses there. And
Well, this is something that this is a weird one. I wasn't any fan of Mason. That was the term that I searched, by the way. Wasn't
wow.
any fan of Mason.
Huh. It's like a big fan of, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan, but I wasn't any fan. That was well documented.
Huh.
I know that's a phrase, but well documented?
Right. I mean, the police chief knew that somehow.
I guess, but there's a paper trail. So I was curious about it. So I dove to the dark web.
And, the what? I see.
Yeah, have you heard of it, the dark web?
I have. It's very popular nowadays.
Yes, I use a VPN. I go through Japan and go to the dark web. And there is a community that expounded on this. You might not be surprised to learn.
On her well-documented dislike of Mason.
Yes, that is correct. And in fact, in their eyes, in these recreators' eyes, a robust community, very robust.
Very robust, yes.
Hundreds of thousands of members.
Well, people are looking for new, sort of networks to join these days. So it's I wouldn't be surprised if this has become a refuge for people.
And weirdly, all super supportive of each other. And also they leave below the recreations, they'll leave comments like, "Man, I remember when I heard this recreation with my late father."
Wow.
One of the best things I still listen to it. R.I.P. John. And then
the comment below that is like, "Yeah, you should have been kissing my granddaughter, you son of a..."
Right. So anyway, this is a recreation of, in fact, it is well documented according to them.
Wow.
There are many documents. So let's hear what they have to say about that. We go live to the courtroom where the district attorney is grilling Cinnamon Peters about her well-documented dislike of Mason Barstow.
Now, Mrs. Peters, you have admitted, quote, that it is well documented that you're not any fan of gingerbread Judge Mason Barstow. Is that correct?
I said that, yes, but it's a figure of speech.
Is it? Is it now? Because I have here a document written by you, Your Honor, Exhibit 4A, and submitted to your 5th grade teacher.
And it's a document?
It was written in the Word doc format before they switched over to the DOCX format.
Darn it. That's a document, all right.
It's a paper titled, What I Did for My Summer Vacation. Would you read from it, please?
Certainly. What I did for my summer vacation. I went to Easter Village across the river. That was fun. My mom died in a skiing accident. Also, I will someday stab Mason Barstow because I am just not any fan.
Document number 1, Your Honor. Now, document number 2, in which you express your dislike of Mason Barstow.
Objection, Your Honor. She has stated under oath that she is not any fan. Sustained.
Sorry, Your Honor. Document number 2, proving she's not any fan of Barstow. You pulled a building permit for an easement on your pie shop in order to, quote, expand the signage and restore the facade. Is that correct?
That's right.
Yet, in every single line of the document you wrote, sometimes in very tiny script, I am not any fan of Mason Barstow. Your permit was denied, of course, but the document is on file. It's well documented.
Well documented. Okay, but that was years ago. What else you got?
Well, recently, you broke into the Smithsonian Institute and used high-tech lasers to cut through the security glass, steal the Declaration of Independence, much like Nick Cage in National Treasure, great movie by the way, and you replaced the words, "We hold these truths to be self-evident," with, "We believe that most right-thinking people are not any fans of Mason Barstow." And then you put the document back under the glass. Is that correct?
Yes, it's true. It's all true.
Well, there it is. This court finds that Cinnamon Peters not being any fan of Mason Barstow is well documented. Yeah, so it was documented.
Well documented. That's
well documented.
It's good that she specified that it was the former format, because I don't consider a docx a document. That's its own thing, really.
Yes, exactly. That's all I have for 26.
Yeah, Daniel shows up and is not alone, because in chapter 27 it's Huckleberry, who, believe it or not, Daniel's the one that adopted him. I was shocked. I thought it was certainly going to be it would have been awesome if it was Bailey, if she got the dog and just dressed it up like a hoochie.
And then held it up next to her face so that Cinnamon could see it.
The dog's licking her.
Look what I got. Yes.
Why is your dog wearing a thong? That's very odd.
This was a weird thing. I don't know if you got hung up on this. I'll read it and see if anyone gets hung up on it. He wasn't completely buying into the idea and kept looking for a way to get away from the drunk woman's pets, but I didn't care. I was so glad to see him I didn't care how it looked. Drunk woman's pets? I was like, what pets is she talking about? She's just talking about petting him.
Yeah.
Is that how you say pets?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like my mom would sometimes say that, like give your cat some good pets for us or something.
Oh, okay. I just never the drunk woman's
pets. Yeah, she
I was like, wait, she has her own? Does she have gerbils or something?
She's been a ferret lady all this time.
Yeah. Anyway, it just hung me up, and then later she says it again, and then I'm like, oh, I see what she's saying. But
yeah.
I just never heard that before.
So she's just this dog has had a lot of drunk people after him in this book. He's had quite a time. He's like when someone in college gets a pet, and it's like, that's not a good idea. There's just going to be a lot of drunk and stoned people around this, hedgehog. I don't think.
And Huckleberry's going I'm getting the pie trembles again. You got
really? I can't get banned from this bar. This is where the whole hub of the town. If I'm kicked out of here, I'm going to freeze to death. This is where it's revealed that Daniel smells like cedar all the time. But then he says, let's go for a walk. She takes her drink to go, and she says, let me say goodbye to Warren first. She asks Larry if Sheila could also give my grandpa a ride when she picked him up later that night. And did you remember if we had met these people?
We met Larry. Larry gave her some guff earlier.
Okay. She's Warren's best friend of 55 years, Larry is.
Yeah, but Sheila, I assume, is
his wife, yeah.
Larry's long-suffering wife.
Yeah, she's the Andy Caps Flo, picking him up in hair curlers and stuff to
she's got a rolling pin at the ready in case Larry tries to have some beery sex late at night.
But Larry's like, it could be worse. You could be married to that Philip. You knew what this was.
Yes. So once again, by the way, she slams her drink. Mm-hmm. She doesn't take it with her. She slams it and then just turns the glass upside down and slams it on the bar for Harold.
Yeah.
But then they go out into the frosty air again.
Oh, it is. Yeah. She doesn't feel cold in the frosty air.
Frosty air.
That's the end of that chapter. Number 28 starts with her saying, "I'm not usually like this," I said. Under investigation for murder.
I'm not sentimental, but when you're under investigation for murder.
Yeah, it really just makes the frosty air feel that much chillier. But Daniel says, "You don't have to justify it to me. You saw how drunk I was the other night. And boy, I am like that a lot."
The drunkenness, I mean, it's hard to ignore. It is quite a theme.
Yeah, it's really great.
So tell me why you dove headfirst into a bottle of whiskey, Miss Peters. Yeah. I mean, there's just a lot of discussion about drinking, who's drunk. There's a town drunk, but everyone drinks.
And it's again, it's not really like, you're huddled with your mug of cocoa that has a wee bit of peppermint schnapps into it as they're lighting the Christmas tree. It's in a bar that's seedy enough that the many tourists in town actively avoid it.
Right. Some of them pull open the door and then, see the vibe and go, whoops, do that spin around where you actually just go out the other door.
Yeah.
Like, nope, not going to go in there.
But she said, why do you drove headfirst into a bottle of whiskey? The cops tossed my shop today, and if you don't think I'm being accused of murder, you think that I'm clearly being framed. They're planning chef's knives places.
I've got, Columbo looking at me with his hawk eyes, Just one more question there, Miss Peters, if I could.
But so I think he's saying why you're back here, and he does the lost thing. Let's just say something happened back in Fresno, and I just needed the mountain air again. And she doesn't press him on that anymore, even though it's clearly a traffic stop went awry and I killed an innocent man type of thing. While I was drunk, of course.
Yeah, no, really, I need to know. I mean, before I get involved with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, I pumped 7 rounds into an 8-year-old.
Oh my God!
Oh dear God!
Maybe that will be the prequel of what's happening here. But I mean, you have to imagine it's a heart of gold type of thing.
Obviously, yes. Yeah.
But it says, "I thought of what he said the night I dropped him off at his home. I don't want you to be sad anymore. I realized I didn't want him to be sad anymore either."
But this is I think this is the longest chapter of our read.
Definitely.
And this is, so she's just baked, right? She dove headfirst into a whiskey bottle.
It says, I've had, I think she says she has had 3 drinks, which again, that's how many I've had now at this point in time. But I guess for this slight woman, it probably hits her into definitely pretty tipsy territory.
He does call her pretty
Nice.
girl. Doesn't mention her flat nose. Slightly flat, I guess. But they talk about her being drunk a lot. But now they're walking, clinging to his arm. Mm-hmm. So you're getting the vibe here.
Yes.
But she, during the middle of this, Daniel, she's talking about Gretchen O'Malley and the judge.
Okay.
And the judge liked Gretchen O'Malley, I guess. And then she says, one time he called her a Picasso with gingerbread. Daniel laughed heartily. Daniel, are you hammered too? That's not funny. It's not. You laughed heartily?
Yeah. It's it also sounds like it could be his sort of erudite, yet catty insult to her house.
Yes.
Picasso is, not necessarily what you want a gingerbread house to look like. But she goes on to say, sounds like a good name for a band, doesn't it? He asked. Picasso with gingerbread, it's got a nice name. So if it wasn't already, let's just forever put to bed that joke construction. Because it does not. It sounds pretty crappy. And 2, it just, it made my skin crawl. I mean, we've made jokes like that before, but it's that their time has come and gone.
Doubling down on it, though, taking 2 jokes off the Picasso with gingerbread. No. Thumbs down on that.
But the laughter, I mean, like you said, Daniel could be hammered by laughing at that, but she's laughing at some sort of inappropriate stuff herself. She goes, so if I didn't kill Mason Barstow, who did? Someone who didn't like him very much, Daniel said. I laughed. So cold-blooded at the...
Wow.
I mean, I would say the body's still warm, but it's obviously not. It's been frozen for a week. So, also, Daniel said this. This is pretty amazing. He says she's explaining why she's so drunk. It's because of her ex-husband is banging this hoochie who just got engaged. And he says, oh, well, that explains a lot. I don't blame you for falling into a bottle. If it were up to me, I'd spend a lot more time in a whiskey fog, I said.
Wow.
So she's just like, this is my preferred state. Hey, you know, that's but I got pies to bake, and sometimes you'll burn down your shop if you do it too hammered.
But, you know, if we happen to hook up, you know what you're getting. Because if you start bringing home the bread, I'll just close the shop and drink.
Right.
No reason to keep it open.
Well, don't count on that. I am not licensed to enforce the law in many states at this point.
So they kiss, which again, she might not remember it any more than Warren remembers any of his evenings. Mm-hmm. And, but my heart pounded hard in my chest like it was a prisoner trying to get out of a burning jail cell. Alcatraz cell? One of our heroines had severe heart issues, right? Was it in what was the
Bottle Land?
No, the vampire one, I think.
Oh, sure. Yep. Because he could see her blood coursing through her veins beneath her translucent skin.
Just tons and tons of references to her
heart
her
conditions.
Skin and hearts. Just So
I just like it. You know, like the prisoner's not just content to try to get out of his cell, but it's actively been lit on fire, so he's going to perish there.
This is a nightmare scenario. Open the cell. Oh my God, I'm roasting. My legs are roasting.
While sentences before it said that light snowflakes floated magically through the air, so a firm settle down for that. But yeah, they smooch, and she says, "I knew the chills wouldn't come back that night." And so that's the chaste, hallmarky romance that's happening there. It would be great if the next chapter just cut to them, you know, mid passionate, you know, getting it on back at her house. But
the mister.
Alas, yes, exactly. He's sucking pie filling off between her toes or something like that.
Oh, God.
But no, it would be a fun heel turn. Maybe that happens later in one of these books. But chapter 29 says, I might have felt bad that I was feeling so good with Mason dead, that I was feeling so good with me being a potential suspect in his murder. It's like, yeah, it's weird that you don't. It's very weird. It's as your life's been upended. And it's also very weird that in these cozy mysteries, like she should be trying to solve the mystery, right? That's traditionally how it works. The quilters, you know, for whatever they were doing, they tried to get out there and put an end to the drug epidemic.
Yeah, you use your special talents, whatever they are, as a baker. Yes, and you solve this.
Yeah,
you look at the body and you go, I think that's pie crust around his lips. You know, right. End of chapter.
Or you bake something into the pie and then you serve it, and the judge says, "Well, that shouldn't be in here," and you say, "Aha! Only the killer would know that you're not supposed to put nutmeg in a mincemeat pie."
Exactly. So she's just letting it all happen around her. This is, in the classic definition, this is a comedy then, right? When the characters are not in control of their own destiny.
Okay, sure.
She doesn't do anything. So this is... so I'm going to look at this, again, as a comedy.
Right. She hasn't even tried to clear her name at this point in time in terms of being like, oh, no, I was 4 whiskeys deep at the Pine Tree Tavern, set the Monkey Bash record that night, so you can go and check that. It's still up there, because I certainly don't think Phillips beat it, not with his motor control after how much he drinks.
Damn it, if she's got the Monkey Bash thing, I'm going to that tavern. I'm going to beat that. I have the world record on that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm a photo hunt guy.
Yes, I know. That's on that game, too. So you can come up to Bob's cabin sometime. We'll do that. Anyway, okay, so what do I have here?
She hears through the Chamber of Commerce that Bailey is planning on opening up her own bakery. And so that is her goal at the competition, to get publicity so she can say, like, award-winning bakery. I don't know how many more bakeries this town can support, but Bailey doesn't care. She's cruel and ruthless.
But again, at any time they could frog walk her out of Warren's place or her bakery with the leg irons and everything.
Bailey or Cinnamon?
Cinnamon.
Yes.
But instead she's going like, my arch rival's going to open up her own bakery, like, for another day, maybe. Yes. But instead she's, walking around, she's wearing her flannel PJs and looking in the mirror, kind of like smacking her lips because she's a little bit hungover, but then smiling like, Daniel kissed me.
Yes, right.
The feds will be closing in on you at any second.
Yeah, at the very least, call your pro bono podiatrist and ask if he knows any pro bono lawyers from the pro bono circuit.
You pro bono guys stick together, right? In all professions.
But no, she hears Burl Ives blaring from the speakers set up downtown, which is, I assume, at 372 First. I don't think that Ennaby was doing a lot of Burl Ives listening to.
I wanted to recreate that for you. I'll just do it live on mic, okay? So this is when you walk downtown, this is what you hear. All right, hang on. Have a holy jolly Christmas, Christmas time of the year. And everyone goes mad, and everyone owns a shotgun, I'm assuming, so they start shooting out the speakers.
Yeah. That's why you go to the meth cabins, the only place you can't hear Burl Ives. So that explains it.
In an endless loop.
Already blaring pre-dawn.
Who's in charge of this?
Yeah, it's like a interrogation technique from Guantanamo Bay. So it says as she enters the pie shop, a cold draft of wind hit me in the face.
Frosty wind?
Frosty, yes, very much so. Probably magical snowflakes blowing in the open window, rather than the usual warm, cozy air that perpetually smelled of caramelized fruit fillings and buttery crust. So just outright calling things cozy at this point in time. And this is another thing she's got that to worry about, to quote Rizzo, because her gingerbread house that she's been working on has been destroyed.
Broken into pieces. A gaping hole chilling up the kitchen, ruins in the corner, and then sonic challenge for you, my friend.
Oh boy, it's been a dearth of them lately.
I screamed in a kind of mad, crazed anger. I felt like I might blow my top, like my anger might shoot upwards and break my skull into 1,000 pieces as the rage looked for an escape from this pent-up body.
Oh my God. I mean, I've got Mike Shank in American Movie, I think, or John Lennon and Harry Nilsson blowing out their vocal cords with primal scream.
Blood on the microphones, yeah.
I'll back up.
Back way up, get halfway across the room.
I'm pretty sure Lauren's in a meeting right now, so this will be interesting. All right, ready?
Yeah.
Whew! Going to be feeling that one later.
So
Dr. John, backs out of the. I'll come back. I'll come back for the fake pie. I'm not going to eat.
She's like on her knees doing the, the no to the cameras on top of her, yes. Obviously.
Yeah, looking up, the string adagio begins to play. But yeah, my dreams of winning this year's Gingerbread Junction competition were lying in a crumbled, mangled heap on the kitchen floor. End of chapter.
Wow, so cookie panels everywhere.
What was the cookie panels?
She said at one point, like, I had been juggling cookie panels all day, and I thought she was talking about cookie sheets, yes. Trays.
Yeah.
But earlier she had mentioned that she was trying to put together the gingerbread house, or putting a floor on it. So then I figured out what it meant. But it did bother me that I had to spend time going, what the hell's a cookie panel?
Yes. Yeah.
It's a wall of a gingerbread house.
God.
Cookie panels.
Chapter 30 is our final chapter here, and it begins with her again being interrogated by the sheriff. So it's a fool me twice kind of thing. The second time the sheriff shows up at your property in 24 hours, it's time to stop worrying about your high school crush, I think.
Yeah, you are a person of interest now, for sure.
I like this. It's he's asking her, like, who would have done this? Plenty of ideas. He says, the only difference this year is I can think of that Bailey has entered the contest. The sheriff lifted his eyebrows at me. He didn't know all the details, but he knew enough to know that Bailey and I hated each other. So the sheriff is just a gossipy bitch as well. He's doing like, ooh, the meow.
And then the sheriff, who I've already physically described, and hopefully someone has already scribbled out.
Sad Smokey the Bear, hawk eyes.
Sad Smokey the Bear, uneven beard, hawk
Nice.
eyes, rubbed his red face. And then a couple paragraphs later, or maybe it's earlier, she rubbed her face.
Okay.
So a lot of face rubbing is now a new thing. And then I noticed there's one more. So
So that's how that's how the woman Bailey revealed her engagement, right? Was putting her hand on her face too.
a lot of face touching and rubbing going on here.
Red face, is it because he's been rousted out of his drunken slumber, I assume? Like,
Well, if he's a member of this town, of course. Like, yes.
Yeah,
I'm surprised they drink whiskey and not. It would be funny if they had to drink like eggnog all the time or something, like
Right.
spiked eggnog.
Oh,
Come on,
God.
stay on brand, everyone.
it's July 4th. Like, please,
God.
like, can I just have a light beer?
I need to tie one on, but I have to drink this. Oh, you big white mustache every time you take a sip.
Someone then has left on top of one of the empty pie pins that Butterscotch or whatever has slopped down. Huckleberry has have left a knife out there on one of the pie pins.
Yes, and she glanced over at the knife block on the counter. All but one was there,
Nice.
and that one was up in the front case. So yes, she didn't recognize this knife.
But it says, didn't recognize the knife. The deputy looked at me hard for a moment, then placed the mystery knife into a bag. I had a bad feeling about that, a real bad feeling. The time for bad feelings has passed. You know, you can't have a bad feeling once there is a dead body and you're a suspect and your shop has been broken into and someone has planted evidence. That's why they start the Star Wars movies with the bad feeling. You can't, once murders have happened, like the time has passed.
And then he, all red-faced and beard all askew, says, "A lot of strange things going on in and around your shop lately, Miss Peters." And at that point, like, am I under arrest? Like, you really need to get a lawyer when he's bagging evidence in your shop.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And he's not even bagging evidence. He just actively casts aspersions saying, "That is, if anyone did break in and enter," he said, clearing his throat. To which she describes as leaving me with a mess of glass, broken gingerbread on my floor, and an uneasy feeling in my gut. So uncertain if that's different than the bad feeling or not.
Yeah, right. More physical description of Sheriff. Notepad in top pocket, readjusted his Smokey the Bear forest ranger hat atop of his balding head. So bald, uneven beard, hawk-like eyes.
And
sad Smokey the Bear.
And it says, she's like, "What do you mean? Of course someone broke in. How do you think the window was broken?" He stuck out his upper lip like he didn't believe what I was saying.
Yes, I have that as a physical challenge for anyone. Stop right now and stick out your upper lip as though you don't believe someone.
He just has a Simpsons overbite.
Wait a minute. Connor, you own a Corvette? A 2000. Let me hang on. I don't believe you.
Yes. Hey, what? Quit doing that.
Why are you giving me this?
You look very skeptical. Now
It's really hard to.
skepticism.
It's really hard to stick out your upper lip and not harden your bottom lip. See if you can do that. Like, keep your bottom lip
Or you like
soft.
raise
and
it
then
up. Like
harden.
I can touch my nose with my upper lip by bending it up. I don't think that's what she's describing.
You can. Oh, you can. You can fold it all the way over. Kind of fold it up and tuck.
Yeah.
I don't think I can do that.
No, it doesn't look skeptical. It looks like I'm just an idiot.
You say you can do that. I don't believe you.
That's a good note to go out on, I think. That is the
Yes,
end
I think so.
Says, "I couldn't be a victim twice over, not when there was something I could do about it." You're not a victim twice over. You've been accused of murder. That is the victim. Your shop's broken into, and like the Bailey taking your husband. Let it go. God.
Yes, you've got bigger fish to fry. So, all right, I think the stage is set. This is good. This is a good place to end, and now we just finish the book, right?
Yep, we got to finish the book. Find out. I got to find out who did it. You know who did it.
I know who did it.
But I don't know. Find out who did it, and are they the same person who broke into the shop? Doesn't necessarily have to be the same. So we'll see.
And I will feel extremely cheated if what is his last name? Philip the town drunk.
Yep.
If we don't see more from him or hear more of his antics,
Uh-huh.
I'd like to see that character sketched out a little more. You can't just call him the town drunk when you've already described everyone as a raging drunk.
Right.
We need to have proof that he is a raging drunk. And I'm thinking maybe he takes a flight somewhere and mounts the drink cart.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
That would prove to me his bona fides.
Yeah. Disturbance at 30,000 feet in Christmas River. Well, last time we did the Quilters, our listener Jeffrey went back and read every book in the series. So, I mean, I'm not asking anyone to do that, but maybe someone will be intrigued and keep going through these, since it is the Christmas season. So someone will fill us in if anything goes on with Philip.
Sure. Should we put mail for another time?
Yes. Well, we got a lot, and we had some drinking games for coziness, but yeah, let's do it just so we can do some sentences before we've got people reading other cozy series, one of them about a corgi, drinking games, but yeah, we'll have to just some Albania talk.
Whoa! All right,
we'll get to it another time. We got to just do the dumb sentences. Let's see what we haven't covered. I knew from his expression on the face he wasn't there to eat pie. Patricia and Janelle submitted. It says, we somehow didn't mention this one. Balaji and Vincent both submitted this one. I can't think too much about the dead body or Bailey entering the contest or telling John that it's never going to work between us, because if I do, then I'm just going to freak out and turn into Cinnamon Peter's best impression of a beet salad, I said.
I did not notice. While we were going over, I scanned through the book and I saw that. I'm like, how did I miss something of a beet salad? So I don't know why I missed that.
So that's something
that's a good one.
Yeah, said out loud to somebody. Where is this? I thought this was someone's commentary, but this is one sentence. Jeffrey and Claire both submitted this. The Gingerbread Junction judge of almost 10 years who spent most of the year in a vacation home in Arizona, who came back to Christmas River every year just to judge the contest, who wore designer clothes and jackets and stuck out like a sore thumb in a former logging town, who was stodgy and harsh, and who was particularly harsh when it came to my gingerbread houses, it seemed.
Wow. I mean, that seems almost like a parody sentence. There.
Yes. Yeah. Did it seem to be that? Mike submitted, I'm right, I started saying, but then stopped mid-sentence. He says, somehow with the sentence stopping mid-sentence, her saying that she started to say the sentence and her saying that she stopped mid-sentence, I think I'm ready to take a leap of faith and say pretty confidently that her sentence stopped before she finished it. However, having said that, I don't know if it's truly mid-sentence, considering how close she was to the end of it, but perhaps she was planning on elongating her pronunciation of here like Ed McMahon. I'm right. Here's cinnamon.
Good Ed McMahon reference really buoys me for the day.
Speaking of guys who might have been drunk at 1 p.m., there's that great clip of him talking to Johnny about lions or something, and Johnny's like, yeah, you think you're fooling everybody, don't you?
He's like, you okay over there? Yeah. I went down there. Nobody else went. I would go to the zoo. Okay.
It's a great clip. I'll try to link to it in the description if we've got it. Andrew submitted, the deeper I walked into the woods, the more I felt like Huckleberry had a purpose, a reason for doing this. And he says, didn't she start following him because she thought Huckleberry wanted people to follow him, a.k.a. he had a reason? Heather submitted, I wiped the sweat from my brow that had accumulated from a long morning of opening and closing hot ovens and precariously balancing cookie panels on one another. There's your cookie panels right there.
Cookie panels.
She says, I know that hot ovens are hot and can make you sweat, but the sentence makes it sound like Cinnamon's sweat was not from the oven heat, but from the act of opening and closing oven doors and playing around with gingerbread, which deserves a firm settle down. I have a lasagna day every December and make 6 of them in an afternoon, and although my feet are sore at the end, I know I did not get a workout. Get over yourself, Muldoon.
Wow. All right. Calling her out. Who wrote that one?
Heather.
So does she balance a lot of cookie panels?
For lasagna?
But I mean, just to get practiced, aren't you balancing cookie panels?
Sure. I guess if you're going to disparage cookie panel balancing as a workout, you really should do it.
Yeah.
She does say that she makes one for Christmas dinner and gives it out to friends.
Oh, lasagnas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Since that is, since she dropped Lasagna Day on us, as if we would be like, of course. Harrison said, I'm just asking because I figured the only reason you wouldn't call your best friend about a dead body being found in the woods back there would be because you lost your phone. That's Kara. We had the Shining one. Cynthia submitted, and most likely he probably didn't deserve to die alone in the woods in the cold snows of December. Her kindness is really cheapened by the most likely, probably, and
most
all the
likely,
qualifiers.
probably.
The cold snow.
I mean, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, if we got one of those early, November snows, I could have seen him deserving to die out there.
He did say my house was amateurish. What did he say? Junior high? Or something like that? Yeah.
Josh submitted, this is some more lip action, and it's Kleinian lip action. I felt my lips turn up. I don't know what it was in reference to there. Douglas submitted, it was a gut reaction that I had no control over. Also for the Kleinian, he says, because gut reactions are usually so carefully managed and thought out. Chris submitted my heart. Oh yeah, that was the burning prisoner cell. We got the petite tone. Amanda submitted, I'd be a complete liar if I didn't say that I wasn't ripped to shreds over it. She says, despite the confusing double negative, I don't really get the part about being a liar for not saying something. Pie eating contest. Oh, Hayden submitted the empty pie tins were still back there on the back porch. Oh, sorry. We're still there on the back porch, empty and sadly dilapidated in the cold snow. He says, if she's baking pies in dilapidated tins, the dog is also going to die of tetanus. And
dilapidated.
This is a good one. The last one, Edmund. Blood was gushing from my chest, rushing down the side of my fleece jacket, staining my jeans black, dipping down onto the bright white snow. And he added, chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
I have one.
Yes.
I don't think this was mentioned. Sometimes I'm reading notes, and so stop me if I'm repeating something. Mm-hmm. This is her talking about the after Barstow's dead. Daniel's, grilling her. She says, I ran a hand through my hair and sighed. He judged the gingerbread competition. Like, does the whole, ooh, boy, he's dead. I didn't. There was no need, right? He judges I just found out he's dead.
It's right. Yeah.
No big deal.
Nobody's going
judged. It's like in italics, like,
It would be how Columbo would sort of cast a upturned eyebrow at her for having slipped up like that.
No one said he was murdered.
Yes.
I just said he was dead.
I burnt both of mine. The one I had used for this was, I'd hope the gingerbread houses wherever he was were finally living up to his standards. So,
in hell.
I'm in a different place than you think, darling.
Yes, you can judge down here. You can judge all the houses you like, but your mouth is sewn shut, so you have to keep your catty remarks to yourself.
No. They keep presenting me with terribly designed houses, and I have so many harsh quips to say, but I can't say them.
I have a scarf, but I can't gesture with it to emphasize my remarks.
My eyebrows have floated to the ceiling and my jaw is unhinged.
Yes, there's a constant Candirus fish stuck in my urethra. That's also quite unpleasant down here.
And a hot poker somewhere else, if you know what I'm saying, darling.
Oh, quite dumb. Well, I'm personally looking forward to finding out who did it. And you know who did it, but maybe there's a twist about why they did it or something.
Oh, knowing who did it has no benefit in my life or the reading of this book. It's just the name. That's all I know. So, yeah. So it'll be interesting to see, no matter what, how it gets there.
Good. All right. Well, thanks to everyone on Patreon, patreon.com/372pages. You can join us there, catch up on the other cozies we'll be doing here, and we'll be finishing this one up. And before Christmas comes, it'll be a nice thing to read in front of the fire for everybody.
And we'll be judging you, darlings. So long, everybody.
Bye.